6121.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
5:08. Let's get an update on the ride to work this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Mike. Well, things are looking a lot better than they were just a few minutes, certainly an hour or two ago. It was a busy overnight. After talking with our producers here, there were some roadwork delays on I-55, but they've dissipated as the work in the area between Weber and 53 has cleared up, so 55 for the moment is fine. Lakeshore Drive is open again at the Chicago River. The bridge was closed there for maintenance during the early morning hours, but you can get through again on Lakeshore Drive in both directions. The Edens is fine, so is the Kennedy. Reversible's open inbound. The Eisenhower's good. No problems to report on the inbound ride. Outbound, there's little work. 87th to the split again. 2 left lanes are closed. No delay there. I-57, Bishop Ford, looking fine. No delays to report right now on the tollways or in northwest Indiana. Traffic is a service of Triton College. At Triton College, you'll find real quality in their modern facilities and dedicated faculty. You'll find real value in their courses that will cost you a fraction of four-year schools. At Triton College, you'll find real opportunity. Visit triton.edu today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny, high 78. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 56. Tomorrow, some sunshine, giving way to clouds with a high 80. At night, mainly cloudy with a thunderstorm or two, low 64. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
54 at O'Hare, 61 degrees officially along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
Oh, someone got a new jacket. Did you get that at your old golf club that you were golfing at yesterday?
Got a little memento after I desecrated the Cathedral of North American Golf. I figured I may not be invited back, so I should take a souvenir.
So those of you that don't know, Dan golfed at the place where you used to caddy as a kid, right?
Which is?
The Mecca of golf in the Midwest.
What's the name of the club?
Chicago Golf Club.
There it is.
Yeah.
Please.
It's not located in Chicago, though. Where is it located?
It's in Wheaton.
Yes, because all good things labeled Chicago are located in Wheaton.
That's correct.
Pleasantville, as I call it.
It is a diamond in the rough of the Chicago metropolitan area.
So
There's no question.
Scratch golfer, how'd you do? Oh, we want some numbers.
No,
oh, no.
No, it was bad. I felt sorry for my caddy. It was that bad. She's just a young girl. She shouldn't have been able to. She shouldn't see things like that.
First of all, they allow females, and they have a female caddy?
Yeah, she was good.
Awesome.
And St. Michael's grad going on to Bennett.
Oh, she's your dream child. Are you sure it wasn't your daughter from a long-lost lover?
Yeah, right.
What was her name? Danielle Proft?
Let's keep minors' names out of this travesty of my golf. But it was great. That's a special place, and I just hope that God and Bobby Jones will have mercy on my soul for my performance yesterday. But it was
good.
fun.
I'm glad. I'm glad you
Yeah,
did it.
it's
Glad
good.
you won.
Good crew out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a
we played
scramble
36.
or something, or was it
No.
36? I expected 72.
Well, we just got 36 in.
Oh, okay.
And then
He's a real man like my dad. He'll play 72. He
Well,
visited me once in El Paso, and he said he was going to go golfing. And then 72 holes later, he came back, and he said Painted Dunes is it's a link style course out there in, near Mesa Road in El Paso. You know El Paso.
Oh, sure.
But he loved it, and he kept playing because no one was on the course. He was by himself. He walked the whole thing, and
That's like Chicago
then went back
golf.
the next day and did 36 holes.
Well, if I didn't have to, work, if I could start at sunrise like your dad, and I could go till dusk, didn't have to sleep or do
Oh, no,
anything.
he was done by noon.
Yeah, right. Then
He power golfs.
we played. We played 36 in and it was 4 of us in
How long?
probably under 5 hours
Are
total.
you serious?
It's not a metaphor.
Okay.
I
Oh,
wa-
excuse me.
I was asked if you're a good golfer.
And the standard answer is, yeah, she's really good for a girl. Uh-huh.
I said I didn't feel that generous. I said not bad for a girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I said you could hit the ball, but
I'm decent.
Yeah.
I'm not great, and I haven't played since last year.
the guy I talked to said, "Yeah, you strike him as a good athlete." I said, "Yeah, it's a bit deceiving.
Oh, that's so
you should
rude.
see her playing beach volleyball,
No, I'm really good at volleyball.
coaching."
No, playing, I'm not bad. I just have to be surrounded by people who kind of have a clue of what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's why you and I played well on the same
Yeah.
team, but then Joe Walsh got involved, and it wasn't so good.
You're like Bobby Knight on the beach volleyball court. She's,
Get the ball!
she's yelling at senior
Is that
citizens.
the best you could do?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to hit the ball. Hit the ground. When the ball hits the ground, there you ain't trying hard.
Miss Jacobson,
What?
I just broke my hip.
I don't care.
Rub some sand on it. So it was fun anyway. It was
Good.
a great time, and thank you for asking. And I have
I
this,
love
I have
that
this
jacket.
snappy pullover.
That's
to
really
show for it.
cool. Did you get me one? Ladies, medium?
They
'Cause
were
I'm
out
tall.
of your
Oh.
size.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me see the patch on the side, because you always wear patches, and
There it is.
that's nice.
See,
Huh?
see the seal there.
Oh yeah. I see the seal.
And what's the Chicago Golf
I can't read.
mantra?
I can't. Seriously, I can't.
Far
see.
and sure.
Oh, far and sure. Well, you get your finger over it.
Well,
Oh, what does this say?
that's what it is. This is the Far and Sure gang sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right here.
Yo.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, the gift that keeps on covfeefing. Oh, I worked all day on that tease. Isn't that good? You like it? Mike Scott, do you like it? Mike Scott, he gave me about a 5 out of 10. Okay, fine. I'll take my tease elsewhere. Today, partly sunny, a gorgeous day, a high of 78 degrees for you golfers out there. Tonight, partly cloudy in the 50s. And then tomorrow, Friday, some sunshine giving way to clouds. Another warm day, a high of 80 degrees. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. I-55 southbound. We're seeing stop-and-go traffic. 53 to Veterans Parkway. There was some road work in that area. The northbound delays have dissipated. Lakeshore Drive is fine and open again. The bridge over the Chicago River had been closed for some early morning maintenance there. The Edens is clear. No delays to report on the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, or the Ryan. I-57 slow going early. 103rd to the merge. 21 minutes from I-80 to the Ryan. Outbound 5 at 15. Bishop Ford, just a little congestion approaching the Ryan. Tollways are good. No problems to report on I-80 or in northwest Indiana. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, the Bolingbrook Golf Club, it's the location of our annual golf outing this year, don't you know? Sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford. But there's more than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Besides their brunches and their luncheons and their beautiful bar on the first floor, they also are going to have a wonderful Independence Day celebration complete with food, fun, and, of course, fireworks. You can find out all the details about their 4th of July celebration at BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
No someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Harvey owns a building and wants to save money by making his heating and cooling system more energy efficient.
Yes?
But Harvey's afraid of the cost and if he can get a return on his investment.
I am indeed.
Plus, he's nervous about disrupting the businesses that rent space in his building. Harvey doesn't know what to do with an HVAC system that's seen better days. The Air Comfort problem solvers to the rescue. Working as a team, the Air Comfort professionals find simple solutions that make a huge impact on building efficiency and operating costs, with minimal or no disruptions to building operations. HVAC upgrades and retrofits from Air Comfort can save thousands of dollars per year. They save energy, reduce maintenance, and eliminate downtime. And buildings with better energy ratings command higher rents and selling prices, and make tenants happy. Get real solutions from the Air Comfort team of problem solvers. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com and start saving money today. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so I called it. I said yesterday as CNN was reviewing Kathy Griffin's status, that was just the pro forma step that would ultimately lead to her dismissal from their New Year's Eve show where she talks with Gloria Vanderbilt's kid about his boyfriend. And she gone. She gone.
I was kind of surprised because I thought if they were going to fire her that they would have done so a few hours after it happened. Because the more I think about it and then see that, well, no, they waited more than 24 hours because then they were reviewing the situation.
Yeah, right.
Then all of a sudden she was fired, which she should have been because I read a story yesterday. It was an American Update, which I don't know how legitimate that organization is, but they talked about Barron was watching TV with his mom at home and he saw that and started panicking and was screaming for his mom. I mean, he's an 11-year-old kid. So when Donald Trump tweeted out that it's been especially hard on my children, especially 11-year-old Barron, there's something to that. There's something behind that. And then Melania Trump questioned her mental stability for even taking the picture. I mean, what publicist would let their client release a photo like that? Would they let their client even go to a photo shoot where that was being done? Because it looked like a Coptic Christian head that had been torn off.
So, Kathy Griffin, you won't get to see her one day a year on CNN. I hope you're.
But
I hope
that
you can
kept her
push on.
viable.
Yeah, I hope.
That kept her in the.
yeah.
Well, that kept her name out there. Trust me, that was a good gig that she lost.
Well, I know
And she
we'll all consider Kathy Griffin's career. Just maybe we should take a moment of silence. Now
Do you want to?
For Kathy Griffin's
Do you want to take a knee?
career, and also thinking about New Year's, which is just right around the corner.
Well, they're planning now for that show. That show's a big deal.
6 months from now. It's just right around the corner. And now, what am I going to do New Year's Eve?
Well, I don't know. Well, who's going to replace her though?
Oh, I know. It's fascinating.
No.
This is so important.
Who is going to? I know who's going to replace her.
Don Lemon.
Kelly Ripa.
No.
It just came to me. Oh yeah, she will.
This will be
Kelly Ripa is going to replace her.
No, it'll have to be probably Ryan Seacrest would be better, but he's already got it.
He's got his own show.
Yeah.
What female comedian? This is maybe a chance for CNN to
female comedian. No, it's got to be a gay guy.
No, they already have a gay guy.
They got two.
You can't have two. You can't have three. You need a woman in there. You need a female comedian. Maybe this is a wake up call for, cable news networks not to hire comedians.
Yeah, they'll get Sarah Silverman or something.
No, she's unwatchable. Senator. Oh, did you want to say?
No,
I just wanted to tell you that.
I wanted to continue lampooning the idea that we're talking about this and obsessing very much about it. Go ahead.
But Senator Al Franken, he was on CNN yesterday, kind of defending his friend, and they have an event planned in July, and he's not canceling.
Kathy Griffin. She found the third rail of comedy, or at least a political stunt, I guess, since it wasn't funny. And she was roundly denounced for doing...
Properly so.
Yeah, properly so. So everybody thinks that she went too far. Even she
I
thinks.
did too.
Sure.
I really think Kathy's a friend and she's a terrific comedian, but this had no business being in our public discourse. And I talked to her. She had apologized, a real fulsome apology. She's actually begged for forgiveness, and I believe in forgiveness.
You're supposed to be appearing with her in July. Can she recover from this?
Well, I think she did the right thing. I think asking for forgiveness and acknowledging that this is a horrible mistake, and so I think she can.
And you're still going to appear with her?
Yes.
So bottom line, you're still going to show up with her at an event in July.
Listening to Al Franken reminded me of how painful it was to try and get through his Saturday Night Live sketches. I mean, he might.
People like me.
Does he still wear the satellite dish on his head as a senator? Yeah, he should. Yeah, okay. So Kathy Griffin, she gone and whatever. Was she ever really here for most people? Did she ever make it onto your radar? No, probably not. And now she's gone. And then we have the ridiculousness of the Al Franken standard of tastefulness, the Al Franken standard of forgiveness, the silliness of the left in general, which is why, by the way, it's in episodes like this, the whole thing, not only what Kathy Griffin did, but then the left's reaction and the statements like Al Franken just made, just excruciating, that Michael Bloomberg, not a Trump supporter, not a Trump fan, pegs Trump's reelection at better than 50-50 right now, which is kind of interesting since the Democrats are obsessed with the idea that Trump is going to be impeached and, frankly, even have some
polling. Don't they have some polling out saying 43%?
Well, that's like base Democrat vote. That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's just like these polls. Do you understand how passively most people pay attention to politics? Which is to say they don't. And so when you have one party obsessing about impeaching the President of the United States, and you have, some of Trump's antics, but the nonstop wall-to-wall negative coverage and the platform that's provided to people like Al Franken and Maxine Waters, you think you're going to rally the 40% of the country that's Democrats to say, okay, well, they say he should be impeached, so I guess he should be impeached. That's all that is. It means nothing. Although Rich Lowry, this would mean something. The idea that because the base is so zealotous and
zealotous. That's a board game I played last night.
So far left that if the Democrats did win the House in the midterms, or they win both chambers in the midterms, you may see some action. I don't know. Who knows where the world will be 16 months, or about 16 months from now. But that is just kind of interesting to note. That's just places that much more importance on the midterm elections. Now, one other note from yesterday, in addition to Kathy Griffin, that story now over.
It's not completely over. Morning Joe wouldn't talk about it.
So
the show Morning Joe. Now I know why people don't watch it. Well, somebody brought it up, and they just said we're not. That's fine what she did.
Okay.
They poo-pooed it.
Well, I hope.
That's why people don't watch Morning Joe.
Right? So Joe Scarborough is getting married to Mike Barnacle, right?
No,
he's getting married to somebody on the show.
He's getting married another person with the letter M.
Mika.
Mika.
I always get those two
They're
confused.
sitting closer and closer and closer together. I think eventually she's going to end up on his lap.
All right. Well, I hope Joe and Mike or Mika are as fine. It's great. Terrible show. Unwatchable. So the Kathy Griffin story, and then we have Kofifi.
Oh, it's a gift that keeps on kofifing. Now, do you say kofefe? Because now people are pronouncing it. There's different pronunciations.
Sure, there is.
Kofifi or kofefe? What do you prefer, Dan?
Kofifi.
Yeah, the Chicago Kofifi. We got to put the Chicago accent on it.
That's how David Mamet would say it. That's how I'm saying it. So here's the thing. That story would have been over yesterday too.
Oh, but no.
But then Sean Spicer did this.
Do you think people should be concerned that the president posted somewhat of an incoherent tweet last night and that it then stayed up for hours?
No.
Why did it stay up so long? Is no one watching this?
No, I think the president and a small group of people know exactly what he meant. Blake. Blake.
What does it mean?
Blake.
What is Kofefi?
Blake.
No, it's
Blake. Balake.
Yeah, why didn't he just say it was a typo and leave it at that?
It's like it's an inside joke.
Yeah, so it means something else. And, Hillary Clinton had her own version of what she thought confefe meant.
I don't think we can get into confifi right now because it's a longer thing. But
I thought it was a hidden message to the Russians.
Oh, you do?
And USA Today questioning his not mental stability, but the fact that he doesn't sleep enough, and that he may have some serious sleep deprivation, and that's why he can't complete a thought in the middle of the night. And I'm not kidding you. That's on the front page today.
And that's why people only read USA Today for the bar graphs. But here's the thing.
I like the pie charts.
The idea of saying now this is an inside joke rather than a typo, this was purposeful. I mean...
And what was up to the audio-only press conference yesterday?
I don't know. But there's a problem with this. So what are you saying exactly? You're saying that the President of the United States sends cryptic public messages out that only a few people in the White House know what they mean? I mean, it's just, what is that? That's just juvenile.
Stupid, yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't understand that response. Or if that's not true, and it was a typo, as we thought yesterday, and it was just supposed to be coverage instead of Kofifi, then you're so unwilling to admit the minutest of errors, right?
Right. It happens to everybody.
That you have to come up with this ridiculous cover story. So which is it? It's a laughable, cryptic way the president communicates with a handful of people in the White House, but publicly, or you can't admit the smallest of errors. Either way, it doesn't really reflect particularly well on the White House, and it furthers the caricature of the left. I just don't understand why Spicer made that decision or was prompted to make that decision to extend this story, which he's now done.
Well, it's so weird, too, because Hillary Clinton, she tweeted out, people in Kofifi houses shouldn't throw Kofifi. She was kind of joking around. And then Donald Trump Jr.
She needs to fire Kathy Griffin as her writer as well.
Then Donald Trump Jr., what house is he in again? Question mark. That's what I thought. You're trying too hard. Ouch. I mean, seriously.
Right, it's descended into even more juvenile conduct from there. Sigh.
Sorry, are we done Kofifi?
Yes.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of Hillary, is she going to run again in 2020? She was asked and she answered, as well as gave another distillation on the vast right-wing conspiracy. It's all at 5:38.
But first, let's go to the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
56 degrees, clear skies, winds are calm to 3 miles an hour from the north. We're watching a major developing story in central Wisconsin this morning, where multiple burn injuries are being reported after a huge explosion at an ethanol plant. Fire crews responded. Medevac flights were sent to a plant in Cambria, Wisconsin. An explosion around midnight. Glenn Williams is village president.
It was a 3 or 4 story structure that no longer exists, and I was told that structure houses the lab and other areas that did have people staffed at that time.
State transportation officials say highways leading into and out of the plant are closed. The blast also caused major power outages in the area. Again, right now we only have reports of missing at least 3 and 11 hurt. No fatalities as of yet, but there are reports that officials are updating reporters at the scene of this major blast at this hour. President Trump says he'll announce his decision on the Paris climate change agreement at 2 this afternoon. Trump says he continues to get feedback on the move.
Hearing from a lot of people both ways.
Reports say Trump is leaning toward pulling out of that deal. The Paris Accord was signed by nearly 200 nations in 2015 and was put into effect by executive order last November. House Intelligence Committee demanding documents related to improper unmasking of names of Trump campaign officials during the Obama administration. Subpoenas aimed at former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, former CIA Director John Brennan, former UN Ambassador Samantha Powers. Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin says it still takes way too long to fire bad employees at the VA.
Under current law, it takes us 51 days from the date management proposes to suspend, demote, or remove an employee till the date that action takes effect.
At a White House briefing yesterday, Shulkin blamed long-standing bureaucratic hurdles for delays in fixing the broken system at the VA. 1 in 4 U.S. shopping malls could close in the next 5 years. It's a new report released by Credit Suisse. The financial powerhouse predicts that e-commerce will pull enough shoppers away from brick-and-mortar stores that 25% of malls in this country will close by 2022. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner says it's inexcusable that state Democrats who lead the General Assembly are heading home for the summer without a balanced budget. Rauner blasted leaders yesterday in the Illinois House and Senate just hours before lawmakers left town without voting on a budget. Newly released tape shows Chicago billionaire J.B. Pritzker sought political office from former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. When asked late last night about the tapes, Pritzker says there was nothing inappropriate. McHenry County prosecutors are filing court papers to seize a Bull Valley home, the site of a major drug raid earlier this month. Prosecutors want to invoke the state's criminal forfeiture statute to take control of a 17,000-square-foot home on 30 wooded acres. Police raided that home May 19th, found 350 pounds of marijuana, machine guns, $43,000 in cash. The 2 alleged drug dealers remain behind bars. Next season will be the last for longtime Sox broadcaster Ken Harrelson. He'll call about 20 games for the team before retiring after 34 seasons in the booth. Padres complete a sweep of the Cubs with a 2-1 win in San Diego. Red Sox over the White Sox, 4-1. The news service of Back to School Illinois. Back to School Illinois provides school supplies for children in need. You can help by making a donation at any neighborhood currency exchange or at b2si.org. Back to School Illinois, working to improve educational opportunities for Illinois kids. b2si.org. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Right now with Galaxy. Buy one cabinet, get one free. Visit us online at galaxyhome.com to schedule your free in-home estimate. Save an additional $500 when you book right now.
They're here, circling over your head, and they're tracking you down. You feel overwhelmed, like you can't escape. You need a solution to get your back taxes filed, to put your life back on track. You need someone who can keep the vultures at bay and work directly with the IRS to leverage every opportunity to settle your tax debt. Mary Karpowitz, CEO of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, is licensed to represent you before the IRS. Don't let the IRS threaten you. You should never need to speak to them directly. Mary does that for you. Comprehensive Tax Solutions will help you settle your entire IRS tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest if you qualify. Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family owned in Chicagoland, can be a lifesaver for you. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. Call 708-478-6770 now.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go, go to your phone. Because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-300-9209. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-300-9209. That's 1-800-300-9209.
5:37, just updating our story north of the border in Wisconsin. Now, according to officials on the scene, 1 dead and 2 others are missing, along with 12 injuries at that explosion at an ethanol plant in Cambry. We'll keep our eyes on that as Jim Talamonte keeps an eye on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Thanks, Mike. It's very heavy again on northbound I-55. There was a car fire southbound at Veterans Parkway, and it's still heavy southbound 53 to Veterans Parkway, and northbound it's stop and go from Weber Road 53. Edens and the Kennedy are fine. Inbound Eisenhower got a 3-minute delay now from Manheim to First Avenue. The Ryan looking at 18 minutes, 95th to downtown I-57 jammed, 119th to the Ryan, 35 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 420. Got a delay on the northbound Tri-State from I-80, the 163rd Street toll, and the westbound Indiana toll road is heavy. The Portage toll to the Portage interchange. Traffic is a service of Al Pamati Ford. Stop before you buy your new car. You must visit Al Pamati Ford now. Truckloads of new cars and trucks have just arrived. Everything is priced to sell quickly. Al Pamati Ford is at 25th and North Avenue in Melrose Park. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, partly sunny today and a high near 78. Partly cloudy and 56 overnight. We may hit 80 tomorrow. Currently, we have sunrise and 56. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Half-price Wing Tuesdays now at B-Dubs. Any size order of traditional wings cost half as much, making Tuesdays twice as good. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Valid at participating locations for a limited time.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Hillary Clinton still on the circuit. Her bitching tour continues uninterrupted. And she was at CodeCon. Just did a little sit-down interview, one of these kind of softball interviews.
Oh, it was sponsored by Vox Media, right? I saw that in the background.
Right, so that's...
And the nice big red leather chairs she was sitting in.
And so it's her continuing to talk about the 2016 election. But there was a little additional context in some of the back and forth, because they also went back to her famous pronouncement about the vast right-wing conspiracy, which, of course, wasn't. But here's Hillary Clinton talking about the election. She takes responsibility for everything except losing.
Look, I take responsibility for every decision I made, but that's not why I lost. So I think it's important that we learn the real lessons from this last campaign, because the forces that we are up against are not just interested in influencing our elections and our politics. They're going after our economy, and they're going after our unity as a nation. So, yes, back in 98, look, I have been watching this and been, obviously the target for a number of years. And what is hard for people to really accept, although now after the election there's greater understanding.
Yeah, as the vast right-wing conspiracy redux with a Russian overlay. And so, given the way she's talking and that she takes responsibility for decisions, even though they had nothing to do with her losing, you're going to run again in 2020.
So does that signify that you need to think about campaign? Not you in particular. Are you running again, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No, that wasn't an assertive no. That was a maybe no. I love maybe no's. They're my favorite.
And so why don't we get Chuck Krauthammer to weigh in on Hillary Clinton's crybaby nonsense about the 2016 election?
Well, I don't think she's capable of discussing anything about the election in a way that makes, anything other than sympathy for her. I mean, she has made herself pathetic. It was said of the Bourbons, they never learned anything, they never forgot anything. She was saying the same stuff about the vast right-wing conspiracy, which is essentially what she is talking about here, naming all the elements, including as a kind of novelty the Russians this time. This is the vast right-wing conspiracy she spoke about at the beginning of the Lewinsky scandal, when in fact she and her husband lied for months about an event that really happened, and they denied it. She has never changed, and she seems incapable of understanding that she lost a humiliating election that was almost unlosable. And that was because she never knew why she was running.
Well, I agree with him generally, except she did know why she was running. She was running because it was a pursuit of it was the ultimate pursuit of power. That's why she's always been interested in politics. But what he's really saying is she didn't come up with a public rationale for running. Obviously, you can't say that. That's not going to be particularly persuasive to the majority of Americans. But that's why she's in politics. It's for power
and to
prestige.
pay back her friends. I mean,
that's
political kickbacks. That's what they do.
That's an ancillary benefit, and also the means to extend your power is to have people around you that are sycophants and dependents that will do your bidding at the State Department and everywhere else. But so Kramer's right. She always knew why she was running. It's to fill that hole inside her where her soul is supposed to be.
Well, she wanted to be the first female president. She always knew that she wanted to be that one back in her days in Park Ridge.
The same personality, she would want to still be president. It has less to do with gender and more to do with character. That's Hillary Clinton.
Well, she blamed the New York Times yesterday. She blamed James Comey, and she really went after the DNC. This is fascinating. She said their lack of preparedness is the reason why she lost the election. Listen to this.
I get the nomination. So I'm now the nominee of the Democratic Party. I inherit nothing from the Democratic Party.
What do you mean nothing?
I mean, it was bankrupt. It was on the verge of insolvency. Its data was mediocre to poor, non-existent, wrong. I had to inject money into it.
This is the DNC, you're saying.
The DNC to keep it going. Okay. Donald Trump, who did nothing about really setting up any kind of data operation, inherits an RNC data foundation that after the Republicans lost in 2012, and they thought they had a very good operation with the setup that Romney did, called Orca. They thought that was really state-of-the-art. They lose. So they raised, best estimates are close to $100 million. They brought in their main vendors. They basically said, we will never be behind the Democrats again.
Yeah, and they were better organized. It's called being prepared, and they won.
That's not what's happening here. What Hillary's doing is, if you say, is she attacking Debbie Wasserman Schultz? No.
No.
Well, you would go there because she's the DNC chairman, so she would be responsible for the organization's wherewithal and performance. What she's really doing is going after Obama and Obama's people. That's what this really is. This is a shot back across the bow at Obama's people. Remember, these were bedfellows of convenience, not true allies. And she is essentially saying that Obama didn't do enough for me. Obama didn't, and she can't say it directly, so she's got to say it indirectly by talking about the resources and infrastructure that was at my disposal.
She had none compared to the RNC. And you're right, Obama, because there's no love lost between those two.
No. And by the way, I mean, it's not just, if you're getting sick of listening to Hillary, I'm not. Because
I'm not. I love every time. She was very animated, very angry yesterday, very true. I thought to what she saw was the reason why she lost the election.
There's no such thing as true and Hillary in the same sentence. But I love her because I hope she never goes away, because she is an anchor around the necks of the left, an absolute anchor. And you know how you know this is because Democrats are criticizing her. Democrats wish she would shut up. Democrats wish she would stop with the whining and the bitching. Like a former campaign aide, Patty Solis Doyle. She's a Chicagoan, right? Which Solis is she married to? Danny?
Danny Solis.
Or is that a sister? I think that's a sister. But anyway, yeah, Solis Doyle, Patty Solis Doyle. Okay. I think that's a sister. But anyway, she tweeted, "I love Hillary Clinton, but I'm tired of hearing what she blames for the loss."
That's no sister friend there.
Want to hear how D's can win in 2018, 2020, and beyond. Time to move on. But Hillary Clinton won't move on, can't move on, and she's got the ability to create platforms for herself, like she did yesterday, to continue her bitching tour while the rest of the Democrats are on their Summer of Resistance tour. By the way, a related note, if you're not sure Hillary will run in 2020, there's other young upstarts in the Democrats that are considering a 2020 run. Joe Biden is reportedly set to announce a new PAC today. His former aide Greg Schultz will lead the effort. On the surface, the PAC would serve as Biden's way to help the Democratic Party with the midterms. But it is possible, and it's called American Possibilities, that's the name of the PAC, that this is just a setup for Joe Biden 2020. Wouldn't that be great?
So Smoking Joe.
Bring them all back. Bring Comrade Bernie and Joe and Hillary.
I heard Rahm Emanuel's going to run in 2020.
Well, I think if he wins in 19, that's what he's going to do. But other people think I have other friends, though, who are very much in the know, who say they don't think he's going to run in 2019.
Oh, for mayor? That he's just going to wait until 2020 presidential?
No, that he's done. I don't know.
No.
I don't know, but I'll stick with my prediction.
You got to feed the beast. Okay. So
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you, sister. I hear you. Mark in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
If I had $1 for every lie I just heard that woman speak, I wouldn't have to go to work today. First, let's start how the Russians want to destroy our economy. Has this woman seen what the stock market has done since Trump was elected? It's up about 17%. It shot from 18 to 21,000 since Trump was elected. And as far as inheriting a broken DNC, this woman was plotting this her entire life. She's been plotting the election at least hardcore since 2008. And she was supposed to be the most well-funded candidate ever.
Well, and she was, by the way. And she was. So even if the DNC had no resources, no infrastructure, she had all the money in the world to build it herself over the course of the last 8 years, even the course of the 2 years of the presidential campaign. And, she outspent Trump by a factor of 6-7 to 1. So this is just sour grapes nonsense and a shot at Obama.
And let's not forget that about 2/3 of the states went for Trump. And if not for California, Trump wins the popular election. So thank you, Electoral College. And also, if you throw out the illegal votes, Trump wins the election.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. Thanks for the call, Mark. Greg in Schaumburg.
Whenever I listen to Hillary, I walk away with one conclusion now, and that is, thank God Putin threw this election and we got Trump as president.
Thanks, Greg.
That's funny.
Randy in Sandwich, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
I think this is by design, that her sour grapes, if it's not going to be her, then it's not going to be anybody. And they've always, the Clintons have had like a mafia-style hit persona about them, where when you cross them in any way, they make sure they come back and get you no matter what. And the it's you now is the whole DNC, that they're going to sit there and just continue to beat this drum that Hillary was the best thing possible, even though we all know she wasn't. But in their mind, they believe that she was. So now she's just going to continue to be relevant by putting her face in front of a camera and say how bad the DNC was, because they're slowly going to kill the DNC. Does that make sense or no?
I'm not sure that they're going to kill the DNC. I just think that they're at cross purposes. Hillary's got her, her agenda, and the DNC has a different agenda. One is to move on and focus on 18 and 20, and the other is to continue litigating 2016. So one is looking in the rearview mirror, and the other is trying to look ahead to their summer of resistance. But the one thing they both have in common is the era of arguments is over in politics, at least as far as the left is concerned. It's just opposition. You talk so much about campus politics and colleges, what's happening on campuses in this country. Well, that's what the Democrat Party is. They're an extension of the totalitarians that you see on college campuses. It is opposition, opposition, opposition only. There doesn't need to be a rationale. They're not even attempting a rationale. They're not going to make an argument. They just want to silence people. It's just campus politics. They are adult children like you see at Ivy League universities or those that are shutting down administration buildings. That's the Democrats in the modern context, that's what you're going to see from them for the next 16 months.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Americans have the right and advantage of being armed, unlike the citizens of other countries whose governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. James Madison, Federalist Papers. Our founders recognized that the common individual needs to be trusted, but with trust, there must be common sense and personal responsibility. This is especially true of handguns. If you've been thinking of making a purchase, visit the Range at 355. The Range at 355 is so much more than a state-of-the-art shooting range. It is a fully stocked showroom carrying a variety of firearms with brands like Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, HKs, and Glock. The Range at 355 offers Illinois concealed carry license training and a full curriculum of classes designed to teach you what you need to know to be a responsible gun owner and concealed carrier. Their professional team will train you like a pro. Founded by patriots like you, providing professional guidance and courteous instruction. Trust your skills to the pros at the Range at 355. For range hours and class info, visit range355.com. Range355.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Aument, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman & Aument and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman & Aument needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Message and data rates may apply.
Would you rather get your degree from one of the most innovative online universities in the country or one of the nation's most affordable? How about both? Now you can at Southern New Hampshire University. Get degree information and see how to apply online by texting the word FRESH to 554433. College tuition is skyrocketing, making getting a degree almost impossible for too many, but it doesn't have to be that way. Founded in 1932, Southern New Hampshire University has the credibility of a New England campus, but by offering programs online, we've made education incredibly accessible and affordable. You'll discover knowledge and skills from instructors who are leaders in their field. Plus, you get all the flexibility, support, and encouragement needed to prepare you for the career you've always wanted. Southern New Hampshire University. See yourself succeed. Grab your smartphone and do the smart thing. Get degree information and see how to apply online by texting FRESH to 554433. That's FRESH to 554433.
Need a new CPAP? Then we need you. We're CPAP.com, and we recently overstocked the world's best CPAP machines. Top-of-the-line devices from brands like ResMed and Philips Respironics. Call now and get one of these overstocked CPAPs for a fraction of the price. We'll even give you free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-600-5909. The best part? No insurance needed. We're giving out these CPAPs at prices so low, they'll cost less than your copay and deductible through insurance. CPAP.com has shipped over 1 million orders and has the world's largest selection of CPAPs and accessories. With no retail overhead or costly middlemen, we're the best way to get comfortable, effective sleep apnea equipment at incredibly low prices. Again, CPAP.com has overstocked premium CPAPs. Call now to get a ResMed or Philips Respironics machine for a fraction of the price with free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-600-5909. Hurry. When these overstocked CPAPs are gone, they're really gone. That's 1-800-600-5909.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, traffic is stop and go from the River Road toll to Canfield. 25 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 20. The Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower, 37 minutes. Thorndale to the post office downtown. Outbound 29. Northbound I-55, it's heavy. 126 to Veterans Parkway. And the Stevenson is 50 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound fine. The Ryan is 21 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 23. Northbound Tri-State heavy from I-80 to the 163rd Street toll and 87th to the 83rd Street toll. On the Adams Tollway eastbound, it's heavy from the Tri-State to the Kennedy. Westbound Indiana Toll Road slow approaching the Portage Interchange, and toll rates go up today on the toll road. Traffic is a service of Farmers Insurance. It takes more than a roof to make sure your home is covered. Farmers Insurance has over 89 years of knowledge and experience. You can protect what's important to you. Learn more at farmers.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More Dan and Amy and Chicago's Morning Answer after your official Chicagoland weather forecast and a full update from Fox News. In the aircomfort.com weather center for us this morning, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Partial sunshine throughout the day with a high 78, partly cloudy night, low 56. Some sun followed by clouds tomorrow with a high 80, then a thunderstorm or two at night with a low 64. A couple of showers and a thunderstorm Saturday, high 83. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, we have 56 degrees. The news, a service of Triton College. At Triton College, you'll find real quality in modern facilities and dedicated faculty. You'll find real value in their courses that will cost you a fraction of a four-year school. At Triton College, you'll find real opportunity. Visit triton.edu today. 5:59 in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Here are the stories we're following at this hour. Multiple burn injuries, one fatality, and missing workers, according to reports at a huge explosion at an ethanol plant in the Wisconsin town of Cambria. More from Fox News on that developing story in a moment. It will now take a 3/5 supermajority vote in the House and Senate to approve an Illinois budget, as the regular legislative session in Springfield has ended without a budget deal. Former teacher and coach in suburban Roselle accused of sexually assaulting and abusing a student. Padres complete a 3-game sweep of the Cubs. Red Sox take the rubber game of a 3-game set with the White Sox. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Mounting pressure on the president. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. In a Rose Garden announcement this afternoon, President Trump will say what his decision is on the Paris Climate Accord, but critics are assuming he's pulling out. Fox's Simon Owen is live in London.
Lisa, some other world leaders restating their commitment to the Paris deal. Speaking in Berlin, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang saying combating climate change is an international responsibility. We've had similar statements from India, France and Russia, among others, although Russia saying the Paris Agreement will be less effective without major participants. Only 2 countries have previously rejected the Paris Accord, Syria and Nicaragua. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. President Trump is concerned about the impact on the U.S. economy. Meantime, Russia's President Vladimir Putin denies election interference again, telling a meeting of news agencies the Russian government has never been involved in hacking. A new batch of subpoenas in the Russian probe and beyond on Capitol Hill. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Lisa, the House Intelligence Committee wants the FBI, CIA, and NSA to provide documents on unmasking activity during the Obama administration. 3 Obama-era officials are named. Former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former UN Ambassador Samantha Power. Names of private citizens are typically blacked out in intelligence documents, and lawmakers want to know why some were revealed. 4 other subpoenas were sent, focusing on allegations of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. Those include Michael Flynn and Michael Cohen, a longtime Trump attorney. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. Reports now of at least 1 death in a late-night explosion at a corn milling plant in central Wisconsin. There have been multiple medical flights from the scene in Cambria. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
The key to success? Keep it simple, especially when it comes to hiring. And nobody makes it easier than Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Manage your candidates from one dashboard. According to an independent study, 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. New users claim your $50 credit to post a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streator and get more tractor.
Loans are made by WebBank. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
I was making great progress on building my savings, but then I got hit with an unexpected car repair bill.
Keeping a close eye on my credit score allowed me to buy my first house, but an unexpected medical emergency set me back.
When the unexpected happened, Avant was there to help. If you need to borrow $1,000 to $35,000, try Avant. It's fast, simple, and transparent.
Everything is done online. There are no prepayment fees, and no collateral is required. And you can instantly check your rate with no impact to your credit score.
Over 500,000 customers have experienced the convenience of a loan through Avant. No wonder Avant has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And now, Avant will give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your rates and to get this special radio offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 2020 when applying. That's AVANT.com, promo code 2020. Go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 2020.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Bolingbrook Golf Club. For tee times and more, visit BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, a flurry of subpoenas yesterday from the House Intelligence Committee. Subpoenas at the behest of Minority Ranking Member Adam Schiff, the Democrat who represents Area 51. He just essentially issuing subpoenas for Flynn records and Trump personal attorney Michael Cohen, mirroring what the Senate Intelligence Committee did. So there's not much news there. It's just House mirroring what the Senate Dems did.
And that's normal behavior.
But the other piece of this was...
That's not normal.
Devin Nunes, at his direction, subpoenas from the House Intelligence Committee focused on unmasking the unmaskers. Brennan, former CIA director.
Susan
Rice. And
our favorite long-haired hippie.
A new player.
Come on.
Samantha Power, Obama's U.S. ambassador to the UN.
Mm-hmm.
That's the news there. Very interesting development. James Rosen reporting for Fox News.
The FBI and CIA and the National Security Agency were all served today with subpoenas issued by the House Intelligence Committee. Sources said each of these subpoenas referenced unmasking and each named as figures of interest 3 senior Obama-era officials. Former White House National Security Advisor Susan Rice was identified by multiple news organizations last month as someone who requested that names of Trump associates that had appeared in coded form in classified intelligence reports be identified for her or unmasked. Rice time denied wrongdoing and told us today through a spokesperson that she is unaware of any subpoenas, quote, directed at her. Former CIA Director John Brennan was also named on the subpoenas. In testimony last week, Brennan decried the leaks of classified information that have bedeviled the Trump administration and which some believe was linked to the unmasking activity. Brennan declined our request for comment. Most noteworthy was the subpoena's naming of Samantha Power. The former UN ambassador has not previously surfaced in the unmasking controversy. A Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, Power served in Barack Obama's Senate office before joining his administration. House investigators told Fox News they are now devoting greater scrutiny to Power because they have come to see her role in the unmasking as larger than previously known.
And Rosen went on to point out there was this exchange that was kind of underreported, and it seemed a bit off topic at first blush, but now with the subpoenas that have been issued, you look at it in a different light. And this is the exchange between Trey Gowdy and John Brennan when Brennan testified before the House Intel Committee. And Gowdy asked if any U.S. ambassadors had made specific requests for the unmasking of the names of particular individuals, and Brennan couldn't recall any such instance. But now you look at that back and forth under the or in the context of the subpoenas that have been issued that include Samantha Power, and it casts a new light on this, doesn't it? Now, the other thing to remember here is the Senate Intel Committee, as Andy McCarthy has pointed out over at NRO, seems more single-minded about Russian interference in the election. But the House Intelligence Committee seems to be more even-handed in pursuing two parallel tracks. One, the Russian interference allegations of collusion. Two, the leaking, the unmasking of individuals, the inappropriate unmasking of individuals by perhaps senior officials, intelligence officials in the Obama administration. They're pursuing both tracks, and it shouldn't be lost. And with those subpoenas issued, I don't think it is lost anymore.
And also, too, what we learned yesterday is that James Comey, former FBI director, is going to be testifying in front of the Senate Intel. And that, according to CNN, this is the big, this could it be the smoking gun that President Trump, he's going to admit that President Trump pressured him into.
No, he's not. Admit.
Well, no, they said that that the president did pressure Comey on the Russian probe to take it easy on General Flynn. And they're saying that that's what he's going to testify to next week when he's in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Right. So he's going to recast both the testimony that he's previously given to Congress as well as the characterizations or the lack of characterizations that he's offered generally on the topic.
Well, they say he's going to get more in-depth on that December 14th meeting that they had.
And not just him, but also acting FBI Director Andy McCabe, who both have testified previously to Congress. No one has interfered. So square the circle for me.
Well,
right. I mean, maybe
intimidation of the witness, obstruction of justice. That's they're like, this is going to be it. This is This is what's going to happen. That President Trump.
I'm sorry. Square the circle for me. Jim Comey saying one thing and doing nothing up until his termination, and now recasting the meeting that didn't constitute interference, according to him, per his testimony before Congress.
Well, they're saying he's going to change his testimony.
Well, I understand, but so he's going to change his testimony, and so what credibility should be assigned to that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. Give us a call on that question. Should we assign any credibility to what Jim Comey has to say, particularly if he's going to say things that are mutually exclusive to things he's previously said in the same setting?
Well, President Trump attacked his character, calling him a nut job, and then the next thing you know, he's willing to testify again in front of a different committee, this time the Senate. And then also after he testifies, he's going to sit down for a one-on-one interview with the special prosecutor, Mueller, after his testimony for more questioning. So I don't know if I trust anything that comes out of his mouth. I think he's a little squirrely, the former FBI director, because I think he was placating to both parties. He seemed He didn't want to upset the Democrats. Then he didn't want to upset the Republicans. Then he went back to coddling the Democrats. And what he did with Hillary's emails was a hot mess right before the election. Now we have this batch of emails, and the whole emails that were allegedly that were sent that were classified to Uma Abedin, that Uma Abedin sent to Anthony Weiner. He came out and said that there were hundreds, and he retracted that and said no, there was about a dozen. So he's loose with the facts.
Well, because he's political.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really...
He wants to be loved.
We keep coming back to the same thing with Comey. We've done this for the better part of a year now. And if you look back into Comey's record, both as FBI director as well as at the Department of Justice, there's even more of a pattern of conduct of politicizing Jim Comey, of reputation management of Jim Comey at the expense of doing one's job. And this is why he's all over the board, because there is no foundation there. This is Jim Comey mainly looking out for Jim Comey, not Jim Comey in pursuit of the truth wherever it may lead. Not Jim Comey doing what the law provides and, in some cases, as with the Hillary email investigation, demands. So, the whole Jim Comey testimony here, even if the CNN report is right, and it may not be, oh, by the way.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm taking it with
Yeah, but I mean, that you're right. You characterized the report correctly. But even if it's right, this gets Democrats what? The same Democrats that were just pillaring Jim Comey. Hillary Clinton was doing it yesterday. They're pillaring him for, stealing the election, or at least in part costing Hillary Clinton the election, of course, along with the Russians. So, I mean, you've had other people. You've had Harry Reid suggest that Jim Comey was doing the bidding of the Russians as well after the election. So now all these Democrats who went so far as Harry Reid did to accuse Comey of collusion, to criticize Comey for the decisions he made, particularly the one you referenced, the late October decision with the Huma Abedin emails, then rallied to his defense after he got terminated, before asking him questions, trying to get him to say what he may now say, according to CNN. Now they're going to swing back and they're going to be in Jim Comey camp? I mean, does anybody buy any of this? How can any of this be trusted?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
You have to have, the only way this goes anywhere, or obviously should go anywhere, evidence of a particular crime. And Jim Comey's testimony, that ain't going to be enough. Scott on the inbound Ike.
Good morning. No, Jim Comey is best at looking out for Jim Comey, best I can tell. And check me on this, Dan, because I know you're the legal scholar amongst us. If he did receive pressure and didn't report that immediately, doesn't he himself put himself in a trick bag?
Yeah, he does.
By changing his testimony next week?
Right. So that's right. That will be the obvious follow-up question. So that will be. I mean, he'll be before the Senate Intel Committee, but so unfortunately we won't have Trey Gowdy to put him through the paces. But you should have a few senators there with firing synapses who ask the obvious follow-up question. Well, here's your testimony from May 3rd. Here's what you said. Here's what your deputy director said a couple of weeks later. So why the change now, Jim? And it'll be fascinating to hear what his answer is. And to your point. And but you know what he's going to do, because he's a politician. Oh, well, I just didn't think about it at the time. Now that I've had time to reflect, I understand it was so inappropriate, which is why I'm here testifying. Because, Scott, to your point, and the point I was making is, it's always Jim Comey, Mr. Smith goes to Washington. It's Jim Comey, Elliot Ness. It's Jim Comey, heroic, valiant defender of truth, justice, and the American way. And that's what you'll see from Jim Comey when he testifies, but it's all bull jive. Thanks for the call, Scott. Mike on the north side.
Good morning. Why isn't this guy sitting in a jail cell right now? Remember, he was the FBI director when the Russians, of all people, called him up and said, hey, watch out for these Tsarnaev brothers. These guys are going to be trouble.
Yeah.
They set a bomb off. They set bombs off at the marathon, people got maimed, people got killed, and this guy walks away. This guy's got less responsibility than a city worker from Bridgeport. The guy ought to be locked up.
Something that Mike on the north side knows all about.
Yes,
City
he
workers
does.
from Bridgeport. I don't know that he should be locked up because of the intel law enforcement affair and the Tsarnaev brothers. But you're right, that's part of his record. I mean, we've seen this happen before, and it's not just been Jim Comey, and it's not just been in this country. The people that are on radar that have been tipped off for some reason or another, law enforcement or intelligence community doesn't think they're a threat or doesn't think they're going to commit a terrorist act or loses track of them. So there's a competency question in addition to an honesty question that surrounds Jim Comey. Another related story, the New York Post, reporting that the Justice Department has gotten a warrant from the FISA court to conduct electronic surveillance on a group of journalists who've been the recipients of leaked information.
Oh, really?
The journalists are not the target. They're looking for the leaker of this information, which is a crime. Now, of course, this calls to mind Eric Holder's foray into monitoring.
Oh, James Rosen from Fox News.
Exactly.
And the producers at the Associated Press.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So, this is an area where
Editors.
I understand the leaking across 17 intelligence agencies. It's a lot of, haystacks to go through, but you're always a little bit, you want to be very careful about the Department of Justice surveillance of the Fourth Estate. So this is something that we're going to keep track of and monitor as well, because it's not a Republican-Democrat thing all the time. Sometimes it's just a big government thing, and prosecutors who are big fans of big government because it makes their jobs easier, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of an independent, free press. I'm a fan of the Fourth Estate when its members do their jobs effectively, and they are the bedrock of a free society. So we didn't like what Eric Holder did. This doesn't appear, at least according to this report, to be the same thing at this point, but it's something that we want to pay attention to.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Today it's going to be just a gorgeous day. Too bad you're not playing golf. It's going to be partly sunny, a high of 78.
You have to host the Michael Medved show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We should talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
We're
we
hosting the
just did.
Michael Medved show. So we're going to spend 3 hours today here, more in the studio, because I want to spend more time with you, Dan. 7 hours is not enough.
You lucked out today.
Yeah, tonight's going to be partly cloudy, a low of 56. And then tomorrow, Friday, some sunshine giving way to clouds. Great day, summer-like conditions, a high of 80. Let's see if there's high travel times and get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Well, the travel times are getting higher. Northbound I-55, it's slow from Weber all the way to County Line, then First Avenue to Kedzie and Ashland much of the way to Lakeshore Drive. Looking at 52 minutes from 355 to the drive. Outbound fine at 34. On the inbound side of the Edens, we see a little congestion between Elston and the junction. The Kennedy has delays. The River O'Toole to Canfield. 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 22. The Eisenhower is now 49 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 36 from Manheim. Outbound 30 to Thorndale. The Ryan 28 minutes from 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes. I-80 to the Merge Bishop Ford, 30. Had a crash at King Drive in the two right lanes. Northbound Tri-State slow from I-80 to the 163rd Street toll, then from 95th to the Mile Long Bridge and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, if you're a realtor looking to maximize your time and sell homes faster, then you need to do what I did and work with David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. Realtors, David wants to eliminate the stress that you experience during the loan approval process by approving all your buyers before you begin showing them homes. You heard me. David will approve your buyers for a mortgage before you begin showing them homes, so you know exactly what your buyers can afford. More importantly, with a Team Hochberg loan approval, your buyer's offer will stand out to sellers and sellers realtors because you'll be able to close within 10 days of signing a purchase contract. You heard me. You'll be able to close within 10 days of the purchase contract signing. Now, if you want to maximize your time and sell homes faster, Call David Hochberg now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333 or am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
There are two things every parent wants when their child goes to college: for their child to do well and a way to afford it. Now, with Discover Student Loans, parents can have the best of both worlds. Not only do our loans cover up to 100% of school-certified costs with zero fees, but we'll give them a cash reward for each new student loan if they earn at least a 3.0 GPA or equivalent. That means every A in history or B in math could help them earn a cash reward for good grades. Just one of the many ways we treat you like you'd treat you. Apply now in 15 minutes or less at discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
Napa know-how.
Why should you grab Valvoline Full Synthetic Motor Oil for $5.59 a quart at Napa? 2 words: road trip. To see the biggest ball of twine or a crater shaped like Abe Lincoln. Because if your ride isn't running strong, all you're going to see is the side of the road. Valvoline Synthetic Oil, just $5.59 a quart. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 6/30/17.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560 The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I want to get to Tigray, but quickly, Jimmy on the Edens, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hey, how you doing? I wanted to talk about leaks, and then lo and behold, you talked about the New York Post newest leak on the FISA court. So here's my point, 2 points. I thought this was supposed to be the most secret entity that we have. And here's a leak. If it's true, it's really an affront to who's ever trying to protect us.
Well, I mean, just a point of order on that. The New York Post reporter John Crudell cites a Washington source of his, and the way it reads, the Justice Department has gotten a warrant from the FISA court. The way it reads to me is likely the leak came from the Justice Department and not the FISA court, but your point about leaks is well taken.
Right. Let me talk about one more point.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So with all the leaks, all the underhandedness going on against Trump, and his ineptness too, do you think he has the wherewithal before the fact to orchestrate a collusion or with the Russians and not anybody know it after all of this?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
I think
I give the Democrats credit. They've created something monumental out of nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good observation, Jimmy. Thanks for the call.
Tiger Woods' dash cam video was released. Did you watch it?
I didn't have the chance.
Well, it's strange. He was in a zombie-like state when they asked him, where are you going? He said, well, I'm in L.A. and driving to Orange County.
Right.
But then they asked him
But he was in Jupiter, Florida.
Right, 8 miles away from his home and completely out of it. No alcohol. He said it was a reaction to prescription medications. But here's some highlights when they asked him to perform the field sobriety test.
Do you know the English alphabet from A to Z? Yes. You do? What's your highest level of education?
Stanford.
Sophomore in college? Okay.
That right.
With your feet together and your arms down by your side, okay? So go ahead and get there now. With your
Maybe
arms
if
down
he
by
would
your
have gotten
side.
his degree, you could
Okay.
know the alphabet.
Don't begin until I tell you to, okay? But when I tell you to, I want you to close your eyes and tilt your head backwards,
I
okay?
couldn't do this sober.
And you're going to recite the entire English alphabet in a slow, non-rhythmic manner, meaning you're not going to sing it, okay? Do you understand the instructions? Okay, what were the instructions?
Not
Not to sing the national anthem backwards.
Not to sing the national anthem backwards?
Not to.
You may begin when you're ready.
Well, let's just sing it forwards, then.
Afterwards. You don't have to walk anywhere.
He started walking this. Here we go.
Go ahead and stand with your feet together and your arms
Come
out by
on,
your side.
start singing.
Oh.
Are you okay? What's wrong?
I'm not in LA.
What are we doing?
Right now, I want you to say the alphabet from A to Z with your eyes closed and your head tilted backwards, with your feet together and your arms down by your side in a slow, non-rhythmic manner. Do you understand?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
He's getting it right. He's nailing it, man. He's nailing it.
Oh, yeah, that Stanford education paid off. Even 2 years.
M-N-O-P.
Q, R, S, T, U, B, W, X, Y, N.
Come on, you're there.
Z.
See, and then right
You
after
still
that,
got it?
I know, but then right after that, put your hands behind your back. They took him in.
That's not fair.
I mean,
let the record reflect he got the alphabet correct.
But the most egregious thing, he made a mistake, okay? The most egregious thing, the Chicago Tribune wrote the most pathetic article yesterday about Tiger Woods because he's the lead architect.
Teddy Greenstein's piece.
Well, yeah, to transform Jackson Park and South Shore Golf Course into a tournament-ready mecca, so to speak. And the question that they pose, can organizers count on Woods to be the face of the project? Can anyone count on Woods to do anything productive after his DUI arrest? I mean,
oh, give me a break.
That is such a stretch for an article. He had a bump in the road. Thank God he didn't hurt anybody. He made a mistake.
Wait a second. Just forget Teddy Greenstein talking about what the moral turpitude of Tiger Woods. Teddy Greenstein's another one of these rank and file left-wing sports writers in Chicago and in general, and he doesn't see anything around him in this city or state. But Tiger Woods doesn't clear the ethical bar to be an architect on a Chicago city project. I mean, that is good comedy. That's who Hillary Clinton should hire to write her comedy, is Teddy Greenstein. Come on. By the way, speaking of the left and Tiger, ESPN.
Oh, that's right.
They photoshopped his mugshot.
I know. And they didn't deny doing it, and they tried to explain why. They said that this template that they use for each athlete's headshot. Yeah. So all of a sudden, Tiger Woods, his hair is much nicer. It's matted down, and he's got more hair for some reason. The bags under his eyes are pretty much gone, and then the little fuzz peach around his face, because he's trying to grow beard, was gone too. He was clean shaven. It was a very nice mugshot.
But don't for a second think news organizations, or including sports news organizations, they don't pick favorites, and they're not rooting for anybody, okay?
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Go to our website, GreatParkingLots.com. Check it out, GreatParkingLots.com.
Go to GreatParkingLots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. GreatParkingLots.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Amy, polyamory wasn't just the name of my high school band. It was a Styx cover band. It's also the name of a relationship category which portends to provide more to love. We'll explore it with Phil Ponce in one of the creepiest interviews you're ever going to hear at 6:36.
And later, LeBron James's home is tagged with a racial slur. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 56 degrees and sunshine in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. More than 24 Major U.S. companies are signing a full-page ad urging President Trump not to pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement. The ad appears in today's Wall Street Journal. At least one person is dead after a huge explosion at an ethanol plant in Wisconsin. Multiple burn injuries are being reported. Fire crews have responded. Medevac flights sent to that plant in Cambria. Glenn Williams is the Village of Cambria president.
It was a 3 or 4 story structure that no longer exists, and I was told that that structure houses the lab and other areas that did have people staffed at that time.
State transportation officials are blocking highways leading into and out of the plant. The blast also caused a major power outage. New regulation by the Trump administration would roll back an Obamacare mandate that employers provide free birth control coverage. The proposed rule change provides an exemption to anyone who raises religious or moral objections. The Atlantic hurricane season begins today. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicting this year could be an above normal year for storms. It's a bundle of nerves at the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. The final round gets underway today after the field was whittled down to about 50 contestants. It's been a bit nerve-wracking for some.
I'm kind of nervous, and then I remember that it's pretty much like set up like a normal spelling bee, so I should just treat it like a normal spelling bee.
I think I've always been able to spell, but I didn't really get into spelling until last year. Since then, I've just been studying, and so it brought me here.
Well, you'd be nervous, too, if a first prize of $40,000 was on the line. The regular Illinois legislative session ends with no budget deal, so the battle between Democratic House Speaker Mike Madigan and Republican Governor Bruce Rauner continues into the summer. Newly released tapes show billionaire J.B. Pritzker sought political office from former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, now in prison. The 2008 FBI wiretaps were obtained by the Chicago Tribune. And a former teacher and coach in suburban Roselle is accused of sexually assaulting and abusing a student. Jared Wismiller turned himself into authorities yesterday. Prosecutors say he made inappropriate sexual contact with a 15-year-old girl at Lake Park High School last year. Padres sweep out the Cubs with a 2-1 win in San Diego. Boston over the White Sox, 4-1. The news service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period. There's so much to look forward to as the weather gets warmer. Outdoor sports and activities, backyard parties, and graduations. For your next celebration, party, or get-together, leave the eats to Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli. Whether it's around your table or theirs, Augie's is the place where sports teams, families, and friends celebrate with great food at a great price for almost 40 years. Try their signature subs, freshly made and fully loaded with the highest quality meats and cheese. Or choose from their fresh, never-frozen half-pound Angus beef burgers, authentic homemade Italian beef sandwiches, hand-rolled meatballs, pizza, and fresh salads. Dine in surrounded by authentic rock and roll memorabilia, or phone ahead for orders to go. Whatever works for your team, Augie's offers fast, fresh, affordable food designed to make your special time with friends and family simple and easy. Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli in Carroll Stream or West Chicago. Don't forget to check out their extensive catering menu at augustinos.com. This season, let the good times happen with Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
637. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens is 24 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy, 27 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. The Eisenhower, now 50 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 36. The Stevenson inbound delays start at Weber. It is an hour and 16 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 35 minutes. The Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 55. Crash at King Drive in the two right lanes. Northbound Tri-States, though Southwest Highway to the Mylone Bridge, Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, Roosevelt to North Avenue. The other tollways have delays too. Traffic is a service of Farmers Insurance. It takes more than a roof to make sure your home is covered. Farmers Insurance has over 89 years of knowledge and experience so you can protect what's important to you. Learn more at farmers.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Partly sunny, 78 today, partly cloudy overnight, 56. Currently 57. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Financial Planning with Jack Taboda, your 401k rollover specialist. Heard Saturday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
No Victocrats allowed. Why? Because we've got a country to save. Join me, Larry Elder, tonight starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, the Sage of South Central debuts tonight on our airwaves. That's good. Larry's great. Amy, the other day we talked about that woman who fell in love with the train station and then proceeded to marry the train station.
Yeah, she realized when she was 9 years old that she was in love with an innate object, and that was that building. And so she snuggles up to a corner because that's where she feels the most love from the building. And she actually had somebody perform the ceremony. Somebody did it. It's not a marriage that is legally recognized in the state of California. But that's what she travels 45 minutes every night to be with the train station.
Yeah, there she is.
Oh, she hears his whistle blowing.
Listen to her pleasure that train. So that's an objectum sexual.
Right, and she has sex with the building in her mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much, I was kind of a forerunner because this is what you're describing is how I used to feel about Comiskey Park before it was raised.
Oh, right, yeah. Somebody else has married the Eiffel Tower. Somebody else has married parts of the Berlin Wall.
And also this out of Utah. The Attorney General's office is asking a federal court to dismiss a lawsuit from a man asking for the right to marry his computer.
Oh, please.
Chris Sevier filed the lawsuit against Utah's governor, Attorney General, and county clerk who refused to issue him the license to marry his computer. So this is like that woman in Kentucky, standing athwart a man and his computer and a lifetime of love together. It's not right. What's wrong with that? We have a movie about this, effectively, right? I mean, Her, the Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so have your operating system on your phone as your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? I mean, since we erased all the lines, why not? Which brings me to a very interesting segment on Chicago Tonight last night.
Is this our sex education hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is...
I don't know about this.
This is WTTW, Winnetka talking to Wilmette, the PBS station here.
Where'd you come up with that acronym?
No, that's been around for a long time.
Oh, it has been?
Yeah.
Winnetka talking to Wilmette.
Winnetka talking to Wilmette. Phil Ponce.
I call him Papa Ponce.
Tackling the issue of polyamory, or, in more common parlance. I don't want to be such a clinician about it, Amy.
Okay.
Consensual non-monogamy.
Consensual non-monogamy.
Which I know was the name of your high school band.
Junior high band.
Oh, the Bonnie Tyler cover band?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What is it again?
Consensual non-monogamy. He assembled a distinguished panel of weirdos, Rami Henrik of LifeWorks Psychotherapy, and Caroline Kearns of the Chicago Polyamory Connection. Which, again, I've been meaning to join. So here's Rami Henrik.
Is this going to make me feel uncomfortable?
The whole thing is odious. It is. It is skin crawling. More to love. That's what polyamory means. Rami Heinrich explains her life, her polyamorous life. By the way, she's like, I don't know, a woman at least in her 60s.
In your case, there are two people involved in your life, and who are they?
My husband, who I married in 1976, and my female partner, who I met in 1983.
And the nature of the relationship, is it a romantic relationship between all three of you, or just you and each of them individually?
The latter.
I see.
So I'm like the primary person in each of their lives, and and for them, I'm their primary person.
Wait, what? So
she's the primary person in her husband's life and her female
friend.
Well,
lover.
Life, and she's the primary person in their lives, and they, just have her. They share her.
Oh, okay, but they don't share. The husband and the girlfriend aren't together. It's just they.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It's difficult to chart this. I agree. That's fine. It's all good questions. And by the way, I appreciate Phil Ponce's even-handed mainstreaming of this topic and this lifestyle. It's very, very highbrow. Now you want to hear, of course, from Caroline Kearns from the Chicago Polyamory Connection. What about her relationships, you asked? Thank you.
The nature of your relationships, how would you describe it?
I have two partners. I have my wife, who I've been with for 14 years, and I also have a male partner who I've been with for 5 years.
Because the wife just wasn't good enough. She had to go with the guy 5 years ago.
It's funny.
A
friend of mine who's married for a long time has a brood of kids. So, I don't understand these guys who cheat on their husbands. I don't.
Excuse me.
I don't. Well,
Wow.
Polyamory has me confused.
Wow.
I don't understand these guys who cheat on their wives. I don't want another woman in my life. I want another dude. I want another husband to do all the things with my wife that I don't want to do.
Like rent a husband.
So, but that's a little bit different than polyamory because this is a deep connection. These are, three parents that are tri-parenting, for example. Chicago Polyamory Connection boss Caroline Kearns explaining, the challenges of raising kids in a three-parent household.
There are times that you have to really navigate more the cultural institutions that aren't built for. I live in a three-parent household. I'm one of three parents, and so navigating a world that's used to only having one or two parents, usually a presumption of two parents, to trying to open it up to the idea of three is definitely difficult.
What do you think about that? Should we open it up to the idea of three parents, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Because the lines have been erased, and these cultural institutions that Ms. Kearns speaks of are behind the times. They're behind the three-parent household she lives in with her wife of 14 years old and a dude she met 5 years ago that's been included. What do you think about that? How do you think that works out for the kids? Does anybody care? Interesting.
Do they care about the kids?
No.
Or is it all about serving themselves?
Well, they'll express concern, of course. By the way, the interesting thing about this, the third panelist was some, left-wing professor, the Northwestern Family Institute. Of course, it was Northwestern. There was nobody on the panel
to push back against this?
Correct. It was all cheerleading. It was all normalizing. That was
I'm
the
a
point.
little bit of a traditionalist in the fact that I don't like to have three parents. Why would you even want to have three parents? Why would you want another voice of the house? Because that's just going to be even harder to parent.
I'm so glad you asked because Rami Henrik, now she's the one who married her husband in 1976 and then brought a chick in about 14 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And she's in her 60s now, right?
At least. I mean, she married her husband in 76. That's, 40 years ago.
Okay, that's fine. We all get old, but that's fine. Whatever.
You're ageless. She addressed the issue of, coming out.
To her kids or to the world?
The world. But then her mom said something to her.
Oh, no. Mom, why do you have to embarrass me in front of my friends?
No, made it all better.
At the beginning, it was very difficult because, of course, we knew no one who was living the lifestyle that we were living. And for a long time, didn't tell anyone. And slowly just opened up to our immediate group of friends, our immediate family. Although I have to say, for a very long time, I didn't tell my parents because I was concerned my mom would take my youngest son away. And I found out over time that she was very much in favor of it, was very happy for me because she said, you have so much love in your life. How could I be against that?
You know what? I think that woman might go to my church. And I'm not.
I wouldn't be surprised. And it's not a church, it's a cult.
It's not a cult.
You got that, the church.
Well, the woman that I go to church with, she's in an open relationship.
Well,
because she hasn't had relations with her husband in years, and they had an agreement that that's how it was.
Of course. Hey, here's a little tip-off.
And she's a mom and a grandma. And it's great.
Yeah. When the church is called Our Lady of Polyamory, that's a tip-off that you're going to encounter some of these folks in your church.
I called that.
Mary in Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. You know, just when I think I have it all figured out, I'm a teacher. I don't know what to do now at parent-teacher conferences. How many chairs do I put out?
Yeah.
The legal one, who do I talk to? This is all very confusing for me. I might have to go back to school and get another master's. Family and life. I'm going crazy on this.
Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Mary. How about Mom? You've got so much love to give. Yeah, you just don't know where to put it. Why don't you find a chick to include with the husband? That Mom's so enlightened.
But she was afraid that her mom was going to take her son away.
Yeah, why would she
think
be
about that?
Well, yeah, why? I mean, why would that be? This is something to be celebrated, isn't it? I mean, you have this going on everywhere. Social workers and foster families in Illinois who don't facilitate transgenderism are being marginalized. So let's just, continue to rip through the pages of this Gore Vidal novel in which we're living and stop pretending that we're anything other than our genitalia and our feelings. That's what we are. That's all. We're animals. Pete in Montgomery. Hey,
Morning,
Pete.
Dan. Morning, Amy.
Hi.
Didn't the Supreme Court state that, polygamy is not permissible in the United States?
Polygamy is outlawed in most states. Yeah, I'm.
Let me look that up.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if there's a Supreme Court decision on point that specifically mentions polygamy. But I got to tell you, Pete, with the Justice Kennedy's opinion in the Obergefell case, I don't know how you could maintain a prohibition on polygamy. I think if that's challenged with the Obergefell decision as the basis of the challenge, then the polygamists will win because the lines have been erased.
That's just so sad.
Thanks for the call, Pete. By the way, now these individuals are not formally married. They're just in a consensual, non-monogamous relationship.
And Illinois does not have a specific law against cohabitation.
Yay! Phil on the Northwest Side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Kind of exhausting. It's sad with the conservative radio stations have been reduced to what we got to report.
Well,
and there's so much confusion. To me, this is just like more chaos agents and more useful idiots that don't even realize while they're busy thinking about their feelings, the other side is using them to completely throw our courts up for grabs and everything else up for grabs. And if we're marrying inanimate objects, I think it's a real estate game, and I think it's a perversion of the courts to where we could sit there and say, oh, I want to marry the Sears Tower or something, or Willis Tower. And now all of a sudden I own it.
You could.
Now all of a sudden we have rules on it because I'm married to it.
You could redefine it as the Sears Tower again. I mean, since we're in the redefinition business.
Well, the other thing is where does this stop? I mean, if these judges are on our tax dollars, I mean, if someone decides to marry some inanimate object as far as something weird like a concentration camp, I mean, are they going to allow that too? I mean, where does this stop?
Thanks for the call, Phil.
Brick, are you just looking at things in the office and saying that you love them?
I love lamp.
Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it?
I love lamp.
I love Lamp.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Almost a dozen economic reports today. Ohio suing drug companies for an addiction crisis. New York City suspending ties with Wells Fargo. Those stories are next. Are you being intimidated by the IRS? Rapid Resolution Tax Group is a team of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and tax professionals who've helped thousands of people with problems just like yours, and they promise not to let the IRS intimidate you. If you are an individual or business who owes at least $10,000 to the IRS, you can turn to them for help. Has your bank account been levied? Do you have years of unfiled tax returns? Let Rapid Resolution Tax Group intervene for you. They're accredited with and A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can work towards settling your tax debt for less, removing penalties and fees, and stopping levies and garnishments. Call the professionals at Rapid Resolution Tax Group at 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. Another major city cutting ties with Wells Fargo. New York City will no longer allow any contracts between city agencies and Wells Fargo in the wake of last year's sales practices scandal. The move cuts Wells Fargo out of New York's bond business. Economic reports due out this first day of June include updates on construction spending, motor vehicle sales, jobless claims, and the weekly Consumer Comfort Index. Ohio's Attorney General Mike DeWine suing 5 big drug makers, charging they perpetuate his state's addictions epidemic. DeWine says the drug companies need to pay to resolve the crisis, which saw 3,000 people die from drug overdoses in 2015, with more expected when 2016 deaths are tallied for the state of Ohio. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Couple of texts on our polyamory discussion from Amby Davis's bowling ball.
Oh, this will be good.
Follow the money. Polyamory is a social construct propagated by Hallmark to drive card sales. Well, there's a theory. Text from 630. They probably got the dude involved to wash dishes and open jars.
Good point.
Very nice. Very nice. Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do on this show. Podcast of our Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics. We'll have a discussion on the budget that isn't this week, as well as my 60 seconds of sanity commentaries, long-form interviews with opinion leaders and policymakers. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
There's no feeling like grabbing a seat in a comfy chair to look through memories in a photo album. It's so much more enjoyable than looking at a computer or the small screen of a smartphone. An album of photos will last a lifetime. They can't be erased or become victim of a crashed hard drive. Print your photo memories at oneclickpics.com, your online photo center. Whether they're for an album, a gift, or framed for display, you want the very best quality. You can get that from the photo experts at oneclickpics.com. OneClickPics.com is a professional photo printer. You'll be amazed at the quality of your pictures, canvas prints, invitations, or announcements. You'll see details in your photos you've never seen before. And right now, when you buy 25 printed photo cards, you get 15 free. Use promo code 15FREE at checkout. Trust your digital picture memories to the photo technicians trained in every aspect of digital photo production. OneClickPics.com. OneClickPix.com.
Need a new CPAP? Then we need you. We're CPAP.com, and we recently overstocked the world's best CPAP machines. Top-of-the-line devices from brands like ResMed and Philips Respironics. Call now and get one of these overstocked CPAPs for a fraction of the price. We'll even give you free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-600-5909. The best part? No insurance needed. We're giving out these CPAPs at prices so low, they'll cost less than your copay and deductible through insurance. CPAP.com has shipped over 1 million orders and has the world's largest selection of CPAPs and accessories. With no retail overhead or costly middlemen, we're the best way to get comfortable, effective sleep apnea equipment at incredibly low prices. Again, CPAP.com has overstocked premium CPAPs. Call now to get a ResMed or Philips Respironics machine for a fraction of the price with free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-600-5909. Hurry. When these overstocked CPAPs are gone, they're really gone. That's 1-800-600-5909.
All that extra weight is messing with your health, your sleep, your social life, even your love life. Time to take control. I'm Dr. Frank Marticello, and that's exactly what I did.
I always worked out, worked hard, and no matter what I did, I couldn't lose that weight. I then saw a picture of myself, and that's what did it. I had to search for a solution. I found the ideal method. I lost 80 pounds, opened Total Life Weight Loss, and that was 9 years ago, and I've kept it off. Listen to this.
I hated being on meds needed only because I was overweight. I was tired of being tired and wearing black all the time. So I turned to Total Life Weight Loss. It was truly a life changer. Total Life Weight Loss gave me support and strategies to get rid of the weight and maintain my new current weight. I love the way I look and feel.
This is a medically developed protocol that helps you lose weight fast, get healthy, and keep it off for life. Call Total Life Weight Loss now at 708-695-5999 to book your free metabolic assessment or attend one of our free educational workshops. Again, that's 708-695-5999.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Dan Webster.
And I'm Trina Webster, founders of Z Quiet.
Our story probably sounds familiar. I was desperate to find a solution to my snoring problem, and I tried everything. Pillows, chin straps, even surgery, but I kept snoring.
Dan wasn't the only one desperate for a good night's sleep. Our whole family was tired, cranky, and sleep deprived. So we turned to experts and created a solution that's a total game changer called Z Quiet.
Z Quiet uses the same technology as professional treatments costing thousands of dollars, but you can find our affordable solution at getzquiet.com.
We know that snoring is a problem for so many families, and we wanted everyone to benefit from our easy solution. So don't let snoring be a problem. Go to getzquiet.com and sleep quiet with Z Quiet.
Z Quiet fits both men and women. Try it risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95. Go to getzquiet.com or text SNORE to 91011. Go to getzquiet.com or text SNORE to 91011.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Spalding wants a congressional seat, no a Senate seat. Attorney General, no state treasurer. He got nothing and he didn't like it at 7:07.
And later, well-known baseball mascot gets fired. Oh, wait until you hear why. But first, I know Mike Scott. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott, who already figured out why he got fired. But don't tell anybody. Shh. It's a tease.
WIND Chicago News Time 7.
It sounds like the world is watching. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. China and Russia, two of the latest countries reaffirming their commitment to fight climate change in advance of President Trump's announcement later today on whether to stay in the Paris Accord. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Lisa, when he was a candidate, President Trump blasted the Paris Climate Accord, and this afternoon he'll use a Rose Garden ceremony to announce whether the U.S. is pulling out of the agreement. Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke says certain regulations are hard on businesses.
It hasn't been a framework that invites investment.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton reacted at a conference in California.
You stand with your prior administration, whether it was of your party or not.
Exiting the accord would be a large step towards undoing President Obama's climate legacy. Lisa?
Meantime, Rachel, the president tweeting a short time ago that the big story is the unmasking and surveillance of people during the Obama administration, a reference to new subpoenas issued by the House Intelligence Committee demanding documents from the FBI, CIA, and NSA about 3 former top officials, including Susan Rice and ex-CIA Chief John Brennan.
Most noteworthy was the subpoena's naming of Samantha Power. How
House investigators told Fox News they are now devoting greater scrutiny to Power because they have come to see her role in the unmasking activity as larger than previously known.
Fox's James Rosen, she was the U.S. ambassador to the UN. The House committee also issuing 4 subpoenas in the Russia probe, including for fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and the president's longtime personal attorney Michael Cohen, who has publicly denied any collusion with the Russians, but is so far declining to cooperate, calling the committee's initial request overly broad. Part of an ethanol plant leveled by a late-night explosion in central Wisconsin. Reports of 1 dead, more than a dozen injured in the corn milling section of the operation. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Sunshine, 57 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. At least one person is dead after a huge explosion at an ethanol plant in Wisconsin. Multiple burn injuries reported. 2 are missing. A regular Illinois legislative session ends with no deal on a budget. So the battle between Democratic House Speaker Mike Madigan and Republican Governor Bruce Rauner continues into the summer. A recap from Springfield and AM 560's David Stewart.
House Speaker Michael Madigan blames Governor Rauner's, quote, corporate agenda for the failure to reach a deal. Madigan says he'll hold public budget hearings starting next week.
We've responded to the governor's request. We've worked with him. We want to continue to work with him on the budget making. And we're going to do that through the month of June.
But Rauner dismisses those hearings.
That is a sham to get phony headlines. That's not real change. We should be negotiating the final terms.
Rauner called on Democrats and the public to rise up against Madigan. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Newly released tape shows Chicago billionaire J.B. Pritzker sought political office from now imprisoned former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich.
Look, there was nothing inappropriate about my conversations with the governor.
The 2008 wiretaps obtained by the Tribune. In them, the businessman tells Blagojevich he is interested in becoming state treasurer as opposed to filling the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by then-President-elect Barack Obama. An investigation is underway following the deaths of a couple who were both Chicago police officers. The FBI was called in recently to look into the apparent suicide of Officer Donald Markham in 2015. Investigators are trying now to determine whether someone killed Markham and if evidence was mishandled. The probe took a stunning twist over the Memorial Day weekend when the late sergeant's wife, Officer Dina Markham, was found dead in her Northwest Side home. Bond denied for a 16-year-old girl accused of stabbing an Uber driver to death in Lincolnwood. Elza Wozni appeared in court yesterday after being charged with murder as an adult. Prosecutors say she requested an Uber early Tuesday after stealing a knife and a machete from a Walmart in Skokie. Authorities say minutes into the ride, the team began hacking Grant Nelson, who died later at a nearby hospital. Padres sweep out the Cubs with a 2-1 win in San Diego. Boston over the White Sox 4-1 in the rubber match of a 3-game set on the South Side. The news, a service of Discover Student Loans, figuring out how to cover college costs. Discover Student Loans would be one of the top private student loan lenders in the country with great rates, 0 fees. Plus, students can earn a cash reward for their good grades. Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Limitations apply. 7:04, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
When smart businesses need to grow their team, they do it on the site proven to deliver, Indeed.com. According to an independent study, Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, more hires than the rest combined. And right now we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job, boosting your listing and relevant search results. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streeter and get more tractor.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go, go to your phone. Because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-300-9209. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-300-9209. That's 1-800-300-9209.
7:07, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
Thanks, Mike. 8094 westbound is very heavy this morning with delays from I-65 to Burr. Eastbound a little slow approaching the toll road. The Edens is 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound now 30. The Kennedy, 35 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 19 from Montrose. 16 in the Express. Outbound 20 minutes to Montrose and 33 to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower jammed. Wolf to Des Plaines Avenue and Damon to the Burn Circle. An hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 39 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. 52 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 36 minutes to 355. Ryan, 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57 Bishop Ford. Both 35 minutes. I-80 to the Merge. Seeing delays on the Tri-State northbound, 115th to the Mylone Bridge, and from the Stevenson to 31st, Roosevelt to North Avenue, and Balmoral to the Adams Tollway. Adams Tollway slow from the Tri-State to the Kennedy. Reagan Tollway from 355 to the Eisenhower it's slow. Veterans Memorial from Boughton most of the way to Roosevelt, and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny, high 78. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 56. Tomorrow, some sunshine, giving way to clouds with a high 80. At night, mainly cloudy with a thunderstorm or two, low 64. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
57 at O'Hare, 61 along the lakefront. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Bolingbrook Golf Club. For tee times and more, visit BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, the saga continues in Springfield, and it's good that it did. It's good that we have no state budget.
Again.
For this reason. Because any budget that Madigan would sign off on would have been impossible for Rauner to sign off on. Because all the Democrats want to do, as the Democrats in the Senate proved, and as we talked about last week, is raise taxes to put off the financial oblivion of the state for 1 day longer, for 1 month longer. No spending reforms, nothing on the spend side, which is why it's interesting, based on the polling that we talked about last week, there is such opposition to tax increases, even from people who say, look, I'm willing to pay a little bit more in theory. The reason I'm not willing to pay a little bit more to the state is because I don't believe that the elected officials in state government are going to spend the money how they promise to spend the money. They're not going to fix any problems with it because we've seen this over and over and over again, and I'm starting to catch on. Number one, I can't afford any bigger of a burden. Number two, to the extent that I can, if it was to pay down bills to social service providers, if it was to do other things that I think state government should do, then maybe I'd be more amenable to it. But since I've witnessed everything that's been done as we have borrowed and spent and taxed and spent over the last 40 years, to Illinois being the worst governed state in the nation, the state that will be the first state to have a junk-rated credit rating in the history of our country. That's how badly financially mismanaged the state is. I'm just not on board.
I'm still trying to process the $14.5 billion in unpaid bills.
Right.
I mean, that is
with annual revenues of $33 billion. That tells you how big that number is. And remember, this isn't the last 2 years without a constitutionally balanced budget. That is a misreporting by the Chicago and Springfield press corps. It is 2 decades. How do we run up a quarter of $1 trillion in debt, which is what Illinois has? The largest unfunded pension liabilities in the country, which is what Illinois has. You think this just all started in 2015 when Rauner was inaugurated? I know that's what Madigan and Cullerton and the Democrats want you to believe. It just turns out not to be true. That's the problem. But meanwhile, the General Assembly did accomplish a couple of things. We got that truth and catfish labeling legislation.
Oh, thank goodness. I was so concerned.
We also got transgender birth certificates. That's going to the governor's desk. So the social engineering continues. And by the way,
is the governor going to sign that?
I don't know what he's going to do. And that in the House, that was with the support of some erstwhile conservative Republicans like David Olson out of Downers Grove. Just a horrible judgment call on his part. By the way, that's somebody that I've supported through my PAC. So I have some standing, I think, to talk about this in addition to just the standing as an Illinois resident to talk about it. And then there's this, which we've talked about as well, Amy, on the show. School funding. So remember all the Andy Minar, they embroiled me in this as well. The school funding, changing the formula to make it more equitable, to help out school districts that are low property tax school districts, to help out children who need more resources devoted to them because they're from areas where you don't have a lot of intact families, frankly. I know we describe these areas as poor, but the real problem is the intact family. And so the Democrats cooked up this new funding formula and then lied about it and lied about it and lied about it. And then they passed Senate Bill 1, which passed on a straight party line vote, basically a party line vote, that would send $400 million more a year to CPS, as well as take the responsibility for funding CPS's underfunded teacher pension fund. So how is that recalibrating? It's just a bailout of CPS. That's all it turned out to be, because that's actually all that Chicago Democrats are interested in. And then you got to sprinkle some money downstate in particular Democrat areas to cobble together the necessary votes. Interestingly, you have a ton of suburban legislators, Democrats, who voted for this, whose schools, if this would ever be enacted, which it won't be, whose schools would be dead bang losers. People who feign independence from the Chicago Democrat bosses, like Scott Drury up in Lake Forest. He voted for it. Hack. Liar. Crespo up Hoffman Estates Way. Deb Conroy in Eastern DuPage. Mike Halpin, newly minted legislator down in the Quad Cities. Robin Gable up in Evanston. Stephanie Kifowit out in Aurora. Michelle Manley out in Bolingbrook. Elaine Neckritz out in Northbrook. Carol Sente up in Lake County. And interestingly, Marty Moylan, who's out Park Ridge, Des Plaines Way, he voted for it. And yet he has a petition on his website asking his constituents to join him in opposing it, which he suggests will lead to local school funding cuts, which is what I said would happen. So this is the two-step they play on their own constituents because they believe, and so far, there's some evidence to suggest they're right, that not enough of their constituents can connect the dots between them, I'm talking about suburban Democrat legislators, and their boss, Mike Madigan, who take their marching orders from, and that they can get away with, on the one hand, opposing it, trying to be a protector for our schools, and on the other hand, actually voting for it. And you wonder why we're the worst governed state in the nation. And part of it has to do with the fact that people like Marty Moylan are getting away with it. Well, for more on this topic and the straight dope. We're happy to have again on the show State Representative Jeannie Ives, Republican from Wheaton, who is, frankly, the most honest legislator in Springfield and the most studied. She knows this stuff backwards and forwards, which is why she's our go-to person in the General Assembly. Jeannie, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Dan. This is important.
So the lack of a budget. Now, looking forward, because this is where we're at. I know Madigan's talking about budget hearings and doing those Potemkin hearings he likes to do. But starting July 1, the new fiscal year, and with a look ahead, you're talking about some real seizing up of the system that's being predicted. More job cuts at universities, perhaps some universities like Chicago State closing. You're talking about questions about whether K through 12 schools around the state will open because there's no continuing approach for K-12. Talking about more consolidation or elimination of social service providers from the landscape for persons who need the services they provide. You're talking about some serious consequences. So what are we to do with those with those additional serious consequences beyond what we're already bearing right around the corner?
Well, I mean, at this point, I don't know what to do. I mean, we're going to be a junk-rated state. We deserve to be a junk-rated state. There's no doubt about that. And but this is all set up by design. So Mike Madigan will jerk us around all day long for 5 months. In fact, I don't think I've been this jerked around since I was a plebe at West Point. And, this is exactly what he wants to do. They don't care about policy. It's all pretend to them. Any bill that they discuss on business, it's as if those policy decisions have no impact in the real world. So let's talk about a $15 minimum wage. Let's talk about a worker compensation bill that every single business opposes and pretend that that's real. So they shouldn't get a pass. I mean, if you want to know where we're headed, the only place that we're going to be headed is, further people leaving the state, further businesses leaving the state. And the only solution really is a political solution. You can't believe the Democrats and what they're telling you down there. You can't believe a single one of them. You have to vote them all out of office. That's it.
So now you're going to wait a few months and then hit this again in the month of June, or later this month, I should say, because it is June 1st today.
Well, as far as I'm told, we're going to be down there at the end of June. I was even told even more specifically, probably he'll do some budget hearings, maybe the third week of June, and then the last week of June, just before June 30th. Apparently we'll be down there for 1 or 2 days to vote on bills and see what happens there.
The reality, though,
I think this is headed to a stopgap, but whatever.
Okay, so you think it's headed to a stopgap, but the reality is whether it's a stopgap or it's just funding based on court decrees, we're looking at 2018. Going back to what you said, that there's only a political solution to this. This effectively is going to 2018 and will be determined. These issues that were batted around in this past session, tax increases or spending reforms and structural reforms of state government, or some combination of all of the above, that will be decided by who is victorious in November of 2018, both for governor as well as who's in control of the General Assembly. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. But you've got some big constituencies that are competing for the messaging at the local level. And there's no bigger constituency competing for that message than, I would say, big government education. And that's what you saw with Senate Bill 1. So, terrible bill, massively bails out Chicago, gives other people just peanuts on any just new revenue. And all your superintendents, for the most part, were all in on this. Why? Because they were assured to get as much money this next year and in years in the future, in perpetuity, than they got in fiscal year 17. So they're just grabbing for scraps. And so you're going to have this big conflict as to who's going to win the messaging more. Is, hey, you know what, the Democrats are looking out for us, or the Republicans are looking out for us. And that's the problem. People don't even understand these issues, and that's by design, too. They're too complicated. And so folks got to pay attention.
It's funny because on the school funding formula, Andy Minar, who's been the lead dog on this, Democrat state senator from Decatur, talked previously over the years as he's been continuing to push this redistribution formula that gives more money to Chicago in particular. He talks about the school funding formula needing to be more transparent and simplify so that people can understand it. And, of course, it's the opposite, because if it's unknowable, then you don't have the rule of law, and then it's just a messaging campaign. There's no law to point to that is discernible.
Well, that's true. Yeah. You know, and if people want to think that this is a new funding formula and we had to change it, the truth is 90% of the money for next year will be spent in the old way and keep Chicago at an advantage. In fact, it gives them an even bigger advantage. So I'm happy to have a discussion about this in my district and tell everybody what's going on, but everybody has to have this discussion. And I will tell you, if you've been represented by a Democrat for 10 years, decades in some cases, you don't know what's going on because they're not telling you the truth. You're not getting real data. And that's what's so regrettable about these. People are buying into the rhetoric without understanding. For example, everybody knows that we have a budget crisis, right? $14.5 billion in back bills. Right now, they want to spend $5 billion more than we take in. They want a massive tax increase. None of that matters because this week alone, they were wanting to spend $2 billion more through certain bills when we haven't even solved the problem before. They don't care about taxpayers.
And it's real simple. I hear this question all the time. How do we get rid of Madigan? 9 seats. You got the Republicans have to net pick up 9 seats in 2018. That's how you get rid of Madigan. So if you've got a suburban Democrat legislator in Park Ridge or Eastern DuPage or Lake County, it's you. It's your decision whether we continue under Madigan or not. Simple as that. State Representative Jeannie Ives, Republican from Wheaton. Thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it, Jeannie.
Thank you for having me.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up, new tapes revealed a nice, juicy conversation between then Governor Blagojevich and gubernatorial candidate Pritzker.
Don't say juicy when you refer to JB. It makes him hungry.
When's he going to get a neck? But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine right now. Just a beautiful day, a high of 78 degrees. Tonight, a low of 56. And tomorrow, more sunshine, giving way to some clouds later in the afternoon, but just a great day, a high of 80. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Well, traffic's not too juicy on the tollways. It's nasty on the eastbound Reagan tollway. We're seeing delays first from the Aurora toll to Aurora, and then it's stop and go all the way from Winfield Road to the Eisenhower. Veterans Memorial, no picnic either. Jammed Boughton most of the way to Roosevelt and Army Trail to 290. The Tri-State southbound, coming from the north, a little heavy approaching 120 in Gurnee. Northbound, you've got delays from 111th to 31st, Roosevelt to North Avenue, and from the O'Hare Oasis to the Adams Tollway. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 30. Kennedy, 51 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour and 3 minutes downtown to O'Hare. The Eisenhower's an hour and 11 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 40 minutes. The Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Homeowners, if the tire on your car goes flat, you fix it. If your heater breaks down, you fix it. Right now, if your home has low water pressure, or you get scalded in the shower when someone flushes, or you or your neighbors have already had leaks, in other words, your pipes aren't working, you can get them fixed too, in as little as 1 day. I'm Jeff Butler, owner of Repipe Specialists. For a limited time on approved credit, when you repipe with us, we'll give you 0% interest for an entire year. That's right, a repipe, wall patching, and a lifetime guarantee, all at 0% interest. Get great pressure, clean, clear water, be able to take a shower, and run the washing machine at the same time. We've helped over 30,000 homeowners just like you get new, high-quality pipes without a fuss. So repipe with us, and you too can enjoy great water pressure in your home with a lifetime guarantee.
Just call 800-216-0130. That's 800-216-0130. 800-216-0130.
Hey, the Bolingbrook Golf Club, don't you know it's the location of our annual golf outing this year, sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford. This is a year, Willie. My team puts Dan under. We're going to beat you by 18 strokes. That's what I'm going with.
Your scorecard's already filled out, so I think you're probably right.
But there's more than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Celebrate Independence Day at the Bolingbrook Golf Club by with food, fun, and of course a spectacular fireworks show. Get all the information at BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate plan. Everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 on AM 560, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Message and data rates may apply.
Would you rather get your degree from one of the most innovative online universities in the country or one of the nation's most affordable? How about both? Now you can at Southern New Hampshire University. Get degree information and see how to apply online by texting the word FRESH to 554433. College tuition is skyrocketing, making getting a degree almost impossible for too many, but it doesn't have to be that way. Founded in 1932, Southern New Hampshire University has the credibility of a New England campus, but by offering programs online, we've made education incredibly accessible and affordable. You'll discover knowledge and skills from instructors who are leaders in their field. Plus, you get all the flexibility, support, and encouragement needed to prepare you for the career you've always wanted. Southern New Hampshire University. See yourself succeed. Grab your smartphone and do the smart thing. Get degree information and see how to apply online by texting FRESH to 554433. That's FRESH to 554433.
Illinois deserves an honest analysis of the problems facing our state. Avoid the spin from the mainstream media and Springfield insiders by tuning in to Illinois Rising every Sunday at 3 p.m. AM 560's Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute tackle the policy and political issues that matter most and discuss possible solutions. So if you're sick of the status quo, then be sure to listen to Illinois Rising this Sunday at 3 p.m. on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The Answer.
Someone who's been loving you, 'cause you're my girl. Some say it's no longer true. Oh, I lost my head voice today. Hey, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
No, we won't always have Paris Ilsa. We'll talk about the Paris Agreement with Steve Moore at 7:37.
And later, it's really the story of the day. A very famous baseball mascot does something naughty. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 59 and sunny in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. One reported dead after a huge explosion at an ethanol plant in Wisconsin. Multiple burn injuries reported as well. Fire crews respond. Medevac flights set up. Sent to an ethanol plant in Cambria after that explosion between 11 and midnight last night. Columbia County Sheriff Dennis Richards says 16 were inside the plant when it exploded.
2 of them were able to leave uninjured and refused any medical treatment. 14 others were not that lucky.
State transportation officials say the highways leading into and out of the plant are both closed. Investigators are on the scene, and the blast caused major power outages as well. President Trump due to announce his highly anticipated decision on the Paris climate change agreement this afternoon in a Rose Garden ceremony. Reports say Trump is leaning toward pulling out of the deal, fulfilling a campaign promise. The Smithsonian is dealing with its second racial incident in less than a week. A noose turned up yesterday on the second floor of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. It was 50 years ago today the Beatles released this in the United States.
It was 20 years ago today.
Actually, it was 50 years ago today in the United States. Radio stations like this one were playing this song. It was the groundbreaking Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band album. Band's 8th studio album was the first rock and roll concept album. Collections of songs composed around a central theme. By the way, for you collectors, there is a new Super Deluxe box set, anniversary edition of Sgt. Pepper, available on Amazon. In other news we're following this morning, the regular Illinois legislative session ends with no budget deal in sight. Now we'll take a 3/5 supermajority vote in both houses to approve a budget if one is to take effect before the fiscal year begins on July 1st. An investigation is underway following the deaths of a couple who were both Chicago police officers. Bond denied a 16-year-old girl accused of stabbing an Uber driver to death in north suburban Lincolnwood. And a former teacher and coach in suburban Roselle is accused of sexually assaulting and abusing a student. Jared Wismuller turned himself in yesterday. Prosecutors say he made inappropriate sexual contact with a 15-year-old girl at Lake Park High School. Padres sweep out the Cubs with a 2-1 win. Cubs returning home to face the rival Cardinals tomorrow afternoon. Boston rides a 4-run 6th inning to beat the White Sox in the rubber match of their set 4-1. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99, plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 7:33 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The world refuses to open its eyes and see the evil right in front of us.
The Joe Walsh Show.
The evil tells us what it is. I am killing in the name of Islam. And right away we say, no, that's not what he meant.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This kind of attitude is going to get more people killed.
It's GNC's lowest prices of the season sale now through June 7th on diet and test support, fish oil, and more. Change begins at GNC. Select products only. Season is March 30th to May 31st.
Don't go to bed another night worrying about unfiled tax returns or the letters or the calls you're getting from the IRS. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, there's actually good news. The IRS has recently enacted changes in the tax law called the Fresh Start Initiative, specifically for troubled taxpayers who owe the IRS. You may be able to settle your entire tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest, if you qualify. Call for your free consultation with Comprehensive Tax Solutions. No matter what tax issue you're facing, one call to Mary Karpowitz of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family owned in Chicagoland, can show you the difference between night and day so that you can enjoy what matters most to you. Don't spend another day or night hiding from the IRS. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. That's resolveyourtaxproblems.com with Comprehensive Tax Solutions.
7:35. Let's check our roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens very heavy outbound this morning. Delays from Montrose to Gulf, 43 minutes. Montrose to Lake Cook, inbound just 21. The Kennedy, 51 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 49. The Eisenhower's an hour and 11 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 56 minutes from Manheim, outbound 44 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to the loop. Tri-State southbound slow 21 to 120 and 137 to 176. Northbound 111th, 31st, Roosevelt to North Avenue, and the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. The other tollways, especially the Reagan and Veterans Memorial, they're heavy too. Traffic is a service of Discover Student Loans. Figuring out how to cover college costs? Discover Student Loans is one of the top private student loan lenders in the country. Great rates, zero fees. Plus, students can earn a cash reward for their good grades. Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Limitations apply. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business sense. 1935, partly sunny in your forecast, 78 for a high temp, partly cloudy and 56 overnight. Currently 59 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, a piece by Todd Stern in The Atlantic. Leaving the Paris Agreement would be indefensible. Todd Stern was President Obama's chief climate negotiator. We're expecting an announcement today from President Trump at 2 o'clock.
I mean, this cat and mouse game yesterday, he's going to speak. Oh, no, he's not. And then he is. And then Sean Spicer having an audio-only press conference, and now we get the news at 2 o'clock in the Rose Garden, right?
Yeah, when
He's
we're
gonna make the big announcement.
We'll be sitting in for Michael Medved at the time, so we'll be covering that ourselves. But Todd Stern writes in The Atlantic, the Paris Agreement is ambitious, universally transparent, and balanced. It brings China, India, and other developing countries fully into the regime. It combines strong aggregate goals with a bottom-up structure in which countries decide their emissions targets for themselves and then continually update those targets on 5-year cycles. Paris boxes no one in. All are urged to aim high, but targets are not legally binding. And it has succeeded with strong U.S. leadership every step of the way. Of course, to extract ourselves from the Paris Agreement would put us in bed with Russia and just a handful of countries not in the international community who have embraced this agreement.
Nicaragua and Syria, right?
Correct. And so why would the president do this? For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, senior economist for CNN, Wall Street Journal columnist. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. I think you forgot South Africa. I don't think they're part of this.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, now it's more credible.
Still in countries like that. I've been having a hard time because I was on CNN about an hour ago talking about this against 3 liberals, and it's trying to debate this with liberals is like trying to debate religion. Because climate change has really become a religion to these people. And, the host of the show was saying, oh, my God, we have to do this. There's so many more hurricanes and floods and droughts. And I'm like, no, there's not. I think in the last 100 years, there's not more hurricanes, floods, or droughts. And then she said, but 97% of the scientists agree this is happening. No, it's not true. There are thousands of scientists who say it's not happening. It may not be happening because of producing energy in the United States. But here's I think the main point that this is about jobs. And we did a study at Heritage Foundation that indicates this climate change deal, if we were to be party of it, and if we were to honor the agreement. I mean, the left wants both ways on this, guys. On the one hand, they say, oh, this is going to change the whole world and we're going to save the planet. On the other hand, they say, oh, it's just voluntary. It's just voluntary. None of these other countries are going to do it. I mean, China and India are building literally scores and scores of new coal plants while they laugh at us behind our back and say, yes, Mr. President, you shut down all your coal plants and all your oil and gas facilities. We'll be right behind you.
So, all right. So besides pleasing his base, I mean, you have 3 members in his circle that want him to, not leave the Paris climate deal, and that's Rex Tillerson, Ivanka, and Rick Perry.
Yep.
So why do they want him
Rick
to
Perry,
stay
by
in
the
it?
way.
Okay, well, what is in it for them, or what are they seeing that we're not seeing?
Yeah, I can't understand Rick Perry's argument. I know Rick Perry is a great governor of Texas. I mean, Texas is one of the biggest oil-producing places in the entire planet. I think what's going on here is that you've got Ivanka and Jared, who I respect greatly. I got to know them during the campaign. I think they hang out with kind of Manhattan liberals who would love to see. Look, the people who are going to lose their jobs are not TV reporters, and they're not they're not college professors, and they're not they're people who are working in the coal industry and truckers and people who work in steel plants. It's the working class Americans whose jobs are being put in jeopardy in this. And so, I got a laugh out of the news report this morning that Elon Musk
he's going to leave his advisory.
Frantic call to President Trump to get him to stay in the agreement. Well, why is that? Because Elon Musk gets $5 billion in federal subsidies every year. So, of course he wants the gravy train to continue. Elon Musk is getting rich off of climate change. It's the rest of Americans are paying a heavy price.
Is there the potential of a middle way per Amy's discussion?
God. Dan, are you going soft on me here?
I'm not. No. I'm not.
Oh, please don't accuse him of that.
I'm not promoting a middle way. I'm saying, is there a potential that Trump is going to pursue a middle way because of this disagreement among his advisors that Amy described?
Okay, I'm going to suggest the middle way actually, but I'm not going soft like you are, Dan. And I wrote this in my column this week, which is there is actually a sensible solution that I think would satisfy it wouldn't satisfy the left, but it would be maybe the right way to go. Why not declare this, quote, a treaty and turn it over to the United States Senate and let them get 67 votes to approve this treaty.
To ratify it, like a treaty, yeah.
Exactly. Let's see how your two Illinois senators, Illinois is a coal-producing state. Let's see how Dick Durbin votes on this. Let's see how Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, how is she going to vote on this? How are the Pennsylvania Democrats going to vote on this? So let's turn it over to the Senate. Let's have responsible, transparent government where all these liberals in the Senate have to stand up and say aye to this. By the way, I think if it went to the Senate, it would fail 90 to 10.
Yeah. You really?
So what do you think of my middle ground?
Well, the idea of abiding the constitutional strictures to have the Senate ratify a treaty, yeah, I think it's always good to, bring back the Constitution, make that relevant again. That's fun, sure. No, I think so, but address the underlying substance of the claim that what this does is make the developing world, India and China, more responsible. It just encourages, it doesn't mandate. And, this is good just to be more energy efficient and responsible with respect to our environment. So what's so bad about that?
Well, look, we are becoming more energy efficient. By the way, I bet a lot of your listeners don't know this because most Americans are not aware of it because you'll never read it in the media. But the country that's reduced its carbon emissions the most over the last 7 years, you know what country that is?
United States.
United States of America. Now, most people are shocked when I tell them that because, again, you're not going to read it in the New York Times. And Dan and Amy, I think you know why it is that we've reduced our carbon emissions.
No.
Because of fracking?
Natural gas.
Oh.
Natural gas is a wonder fuel. It is clean burning. It is cheap. It's abundant. It's made in America. It's everything you want in a fuel. It creates American jobs. And yet, guess what? The left is against natural gas. Think about it. They're against natural gas, which reduces carbon emissions. They're against nuclear power, which emits no carbon in the atmosphere. The only thing they're for, they're against oil. They're against hydropower. The only thing that they're for is wind and solar power because they're terrible ways and expensive ways of getting electricity. I want to make one other quick point here because, I was on CNN and
you live there, Stephen Moore. Yeah, I saw you on CNN about 5,000 times. And when you weren't on CNN, they were quoting you being on CNN earlier.
Probably not favorably. But one of the things was Chris, what's his name? Chris
Cuomo.
Yeah, he said this morning, this is going to reduce the global temperature to 2 centigrade points. No, it's not. Even if everything went right with this treaty, hold on to your hats, folks. By the year 2100, which is 80 some years from now, do you know how much the global temperature would change?
A degree.
No, you're way off. Not by a degree, by 0.17 degrees.
Oh, 0.17.
Let me get this.
17th 100th of a, yeah.
We're going to spend trillions of dollars on something that's supposed to, in 80 years, reduce the global temperature by 0.17 degrees.
Yeah, what a payoff! What a return on investment, isn't that? I mean, the other idea, though, because of the wind and solar that the left is so obsessed about, I've always suggested that we put wind farms and solar panel farms up on the North Shore where you were reared, Steve Moore. Since the lakefront liberals love it so much, let's raise all those multi-million-dollar homes and put solar panels and wind farms up there. What do you think?
Well, you know what's interesting is that the left keeps talking wind power. I mean, solar does have a future. I do think there is a future for solar, but wind power is the dumbest way to get electricity. And by the way, if you wanted to light up Chicago every night with enough power to provide electricity at night for Chicago, you'd have to pave over the rest of the entire state with windmills. I mean, it's the dumbest. How is that green?
He is Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, senior economist for CNN, and opponent of the Paris Agreement, or at least let the Senate decide. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
By the way, guys, I was in Chicago yesterday. Everybody I talked to said, I listen to Dan and Amy in the morning, so you guys have a big audience.
Thank you for that, Steve.
He ran into my mother.
Thank you. Oh, he did.
He ran into Louise. Of course, Louise.
She just gets around. She's all over the place.
She's everywhere. And Stephen Moore joined us on our Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, you're not going to want to miss what's coming up next. Secret audio out. Conversations between then Governor Rod Blagojevich and now gubernatorial candidate Pritzker. But first, here's your forecast. Beautiful, brilliant sunshine today, a high of 78. And tomorrow, some sun giving way to some clouds, but even warmer, a high in the low 80s. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. I hear the Indiana toll roads, those tolls are doubling today. Here's Jim Telemonte.
That's right, Amy. They're actually more than doubling if you use the Easy Pass, which is still the way to go. And if you travel that entire length, your tolls are going to more than double. So what used to cost about $4.65 will go up to $10.75 for the entire length of the toll road. And there are delays, in spite of that, westbound from the Portage Toll Plaza to the Portage Travel Plaza. Westbound 8094 is jammed, I-65 to Burr. Edens, 21 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 42. The Kennedy, 51 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 49. The Ike, an hour and 11 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 40 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways are all pretty heavy. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-400-4811. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-400-4811. That's 1-800-400-4811. 1-800-400-4811.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about Balance of Nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
I'm a big supporter of the product. 2 winters ago, I had, between November and March, I had 5 head colds, and each time it was like a 2-week ordeal. Last winter, with your product, I didn't have a single one.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Duty!
Duty.
It's like Spalding.
Yes.
Almost swimming into the Baby Ruth bar in the pool. J.B. Pritzker has walked himself into some refuse. Here's the deal. J.B. Pritzker, he's running for governor, billionaire scion of the Pritzker-Hyatt fortune. He was a big donor to Rod Blagojevich.
Yeah, they both have the same kind of hairline, don't you think?
Yeah, not the same kind of waistline, though.
No, but hairline.
Yeah.
Look kind of similar. Just
Spalding,
a bigger version and a skinny version.
Spalding apparently wanted a Senate seat, no. Congressional seat. Attorney General, no. Treasurer. Back in 2008, after JB had given Rod a cool $100,000 for his reelect, they had a conversation that was recorded by FBI agents who were surveilling Rod Blagojevich for public corruption, of course.
Now, did this come out earlier? Why is this out now? I mean,
Because
obviously,
JB, because he's running for governor. You know what's
right,
interesting?
But still,
You know what I'm still waiting for?
What?
Rahm Emanuel's conversations with Rod Blagojevich.
When are we going to hear those?
When are those going to be disclosed? I want to hear what the mayor of Chicago said to Blagojevich, particularly about that Senate seat back in the day. I don't know why those have never been released.
Because the day after that conversation, the feds moved in on him.
Yeah.
Something nefarious really happened.
Well, we don't know, but I'd like to know. And there's no reason that Rahm's, whatever Rahm said to Blagojevich, if the conversations were surveilled, were recorded, and I think they were.
I think they were too.
That should not be disclosed the same way this has been unearthed. J.B. Pritzker,
big guy,
talking to Rod about his political future. Remember, Pritzker ran for Congress way back when.
Yep.
When Sid Yates died, he ran and lost in that primary that Jan Schakowsky won. And he talked to Rod a decade later about his continued interest in public office.
If the Senate thing ever happened for you, my strong recommendation would be you got to do it and say you're running again. There'd be no putting a guy like you there for just 2 years. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not.
Huh?
I was thinking about the political problem, and the only way to make the political problem go away in that scenario would be that I can think of is to say he's not running for re-election, which doesn't do anybody any good. So it's probably not a good scenario.
No.
The treasurer thing's a different thing.
Yeah. You did. This is a good option. Keep going. Talk to me.
Putting a business person in a business person's job.
Yep.
I think I would be able to get people like Bill Brodsky at the CBOE and people like Terry Duffy at the Merck to sort of stand up independently and say, we're suggesting to the governor that this is a good idea. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Listen, I think it's exciting.
A political theater setting up
Terry
the
Duffy at the
pawns.
Merck, an erstwhile Republican. Yeah, it's part of the problem with Chicago and state of Illinois. By the way,
what? Yeah.
Look, Rod Blagojevich had this thing, and it was effing golden.
It was.
And it was the Senate seat, and that's what they started talking about. But JB saw the political problems, and so look at that treasurer as a
it state treasurer?
Yeah, state treasurer, perhaps as a jumping off point to ultimately what he's running for today, a decade later, and that's governor.
Now, was anything illegal in that conversation they had?
No.
Or just two guys chatting about
their
future and surmising a plan?
It's not illegal.
But it doesn't sit well with me. I don't.
Well, because
not that I was going to vote for Pritzker anyway, but still.
Because Pritzker is going to portray himself as this independent outsider businessman
who hangs out with school children all day long. I mean, I look up every time at the television. There he is in a different classroom with kids.
Yeah.
He loves the kids, Dan.
So he's got that, but he was going to try and run a little bit of the outsider campaign that Bronner ran in 2014, and this sort of
dirties the water
instance. Yeah, it runs counter to that narrative, so it's not helpful. I don't think it kills him. I think it wounds him, and that combined with his gaming of the property tax system for his multi-million-dollar mansion in the city, that doesn't exactly sit well. And frankly, it doesn't exactly appeal to the hard left professional agitating base of the modern Democrat Party. So what it really does is it provides another lane for another Democrat candidate to occupy. Maybe somebody like a Dan Biss, if he could borrow some of Pritzker's money and buy a personality.
Well, did you hear his latest ad campaign?
I got a job following fat people around with a tuba.
Stop it! Cut it out! I have a glandular problem.
That's gonna be difficult too. Is that tuba player following JB around for the next 14 months?
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, this is Jeff from Basement Flood Protector. Finishing a basement requires a tremendous amount of time and money, transforming concrete walls into living space better suited for children playing, friends watching football, or just hanging out. But how many of you made the investment in a sump pump system that ensures the protection of your new living space in the event of heavy rains, mechanical failures, and power outages? You went from concrete to carpet, maybe concrete to hardwood, and in the event of a flood, you're going to go from squeegee to replacing floors. However, by joining our network of 25,000 customers, you will enjoy the same peace of mind knowing your basement is safe regardless of weather conditions because of early warning mechanisms and simply having equipment that just works as expected. We are Basement Flood Protector. Protecting homes from flooding is all we do. I invite you to call today at 800-238-0822 or visit don'tflood.com to learn more and for no-nonsense pricing. That's 800-238-0822 or don'tflood.com. Use the call letters of this station for a 5% discount.
Are shirts and screensavers with religious expressions allowed at the workplace? This is Law and Justice with Jay Sekulow.
I work for a nonprofit 501c3 community service-based organization, and my question is regarding wearing clothing that expresses like Jesus is real or God is good, those type of things, and also about computer screensavers.
That is strictly dependent upon the policies and practices of the 501c3. They're not a governmental agency, so they're allowed to set their rules for dress. They're allowed to set their rules for what's on a screensaver. Maybe it has to be only business related. They have that kind of authority. It's not a governmental agency. So you got to find out what the rules and regulations are. We can take a look at those and then make a determination there, but that's the first thing you have to do.
Join the American Center for Law and Justice in defending our religious liberties. Find out more at aclj.org. That's aclj.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. I'm going to talk like this for the last hour.
We'll talk to Colonel Ralph Peters, of course, strategic analyst for Fox News Channel, about the need for a new strategy in Afghanistan, about the threat that North Korea poses, and other matters geopolitical at 8:08.
And later, will he or won't he? The big reveal, President Trump speaking at 2 o'clock Central Time about the Paris climate deal. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, one person dead after a huge explosion at a corn ethanol plant in Wisconsin. Explosion happened overnight. State transportation officials say they're blocking roads. There's power outages in the area, and Fox has the very latest on that developing story. Governor Rauner says lawmakers are not doing their duty. We'll explain why. Former Roselle teacher accused of sexually assaulting a former student. Padres sweep the Cubs. Boston sinks the White Sox. A partly sunny day ahead for you, a high of 78. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
The
The Russia probe expands. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A flurry of new subpoenas from a House committee demanding information from both the Trump and Obama administrations. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Lisa, lawmakers issued 7 new subpoenas as part of the House Intelligence Committee's investigation into 2016 election meddling. 3 of them target Obama-era officials: former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former UN Ambassador Samantha Power, demanding documents on unmasking activity. The other subpoenas are directed at former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and longtime Trump attorney Michael Cohen and focus on allegations of collusion with the Russian government. Lisa.
Rachel Cohen is not cooperating, calling the initial request too broad. President Trump tweeting that the big story is unmasking and surveillance during the Obama administration. He'll announce his decision on the Paris Climate Agreement in a Rose Garden event this afternoon.
The president believes that the United States will begin to suffer in terms of its competitiveness with manufacturing and job creation and start to fall behind countries like China and India.
Fox's John Roberts, but he's facing global pressure not to pull out. Today marks the official start of hurricane season in the Atlantic. Fox's Eben Brown is live at the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
And Lisa, government forecasters say there will be a high chance of a stormy summer with as many as 17 named storms, of which 9 could become hurricanes. It means the chances of a storm making a landfall are higher than usual, and both forecasters and emergency management officials hope you'll use today to check your own personal readiness, such as your homeowner or renter insurance, as well as locations to which you can evacuate if you're ever ordered, Lisa.
There have been more Americans filing for unemployment benefits last week, but another new report finds stronger private hiring than expected in May. The government's jobs report comes out tomorrow. Dow futures turning higher ahead of the opening bell. Fox News, fair and balanced.
59 degrees. We have sunny skies. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. This morning, the director of the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services is stepping down, George Sheldon, announcing that he's resigning later this month, returning to Florida to lead a nonprofit organization. The resignation comes as the state's child welfare agency faces a critical ethics probe and controversy over the April death of 1-year-old Samajay Crosby in Joliet Township. The regular Illinois legislative session ends with no budget deal. AM 560's David Stewart with the latest.
House Speaker Michael Madigan blames Governor Rauner's, quote, corporate agenda for the failure to reach a deal. Madigan says he'll hold public budget hearings starting next week.
We've responded to the governor's request. We've worked with him. We want to continue to work with him on the budget making. And we're going to do that through the month of June.
But Rauner dismisses those hearings.
That is a sham to get phony headlines. That's not real change. We should be negotiating the final terms.
Rauner called on Democrats and the public to rise up against Madigan. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Newly released tape shows Chicago billionaire and gubernatorial candidate J.B. Pritzker sought political office from former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich.
Look, there was nothing inappropriate about my conversations with the governor.
The 2008 FBI wiretaps obtained by the Tribune say the businessman tells Blagojevich he's interested in becoming state treasurer as opposed to filling the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by then-President-elect Barack Obama. Bond denied a 16-year-old girl accused of stabbing an Uber driver to death in North suburban Lincolnwood. The former teacher and coach in suburban Roselle is accused of sexually assaulting and abusing a student. Jared Wismiller turned himself in to authorities yesterday. Prosecutors say he made inappropriate sexual contact with a 15-year-old girl at Lake Park High School last year. Padres over the Cubs. Red Sox beat the White Sox. The News, a service of NTB, get a 5-quart conventional oil change today. Just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for all the tires, oil, service, and repairs you need. National Tire and Battery. It's all you need. 8:04 time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Uber Technologies continues to grow, though it's still losing money, and it's losing executives, too. Uber reported a smaller loss in the recent quarter, even though the company brought in $3.4 billion in the period. Uber is not a public company, but is considering an IPO. Uber's head of finance is leaving the company to join a startup. It has lost more than a dozen executives and top managers this year. Americans still love to buy from dollar stores. Dollar General reported a better-than-expected quarter, and it expects sales to increase as much as 7% this year. The parent company of Victoria's Secret is reporting a disappointing May. L Brand says sales declined 7%. The Dow closed down 20 points yesterday. The Nasdaq dropped 4, and the S&P lost a point. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder sees Democrats using members of Congress.
Al Green, another member of Congress who happens to be black, is, along with Maxine Waters, probably the two biggest voices on the Hill for impeachment.
I mean, they know these two people are hysterics.
They know that if Maxine Waters were a white Republican, people would call her unhinged. Those two people will have safe seats and they'll be reelected. So we'll just put them out there, have them yell and scream about impeachment. Can you say being used?
The Larry Elder Show. Now on weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-3471. That's 1-800-500-3471. 1-800-500-3471.
When you're hiring for a growing business, you don't need lots of candidates. You need the right candidates. You need Indeed.com. With an algorithm that positions your job post where quality candidates are and screener questions that help you zero in on the best talent. Indeed.com, the site proven through an independent study to deliver 5 times more hires than any other. New users claim your $50 credit for a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streator and get more tractor.
8:08. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's northwest side, Milwaukee Avenue is closed. University and Belmont and Central Park Avenue is closed. In that same stretch, there's a fire in a furniture store at Milwaukee and Central Park Avenue. It's spreading. Buildings being evacuated. Buildings in that area are. Eden's inbound, 21 minutes to Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound, 49 minutes to Lake Cook. Kennedy, 54 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Little quicker in the Express. Outbound, 53 minutes. The Eisenhower's an hour and 11 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. 57 minutes from Manheim. Outbound, an hour to Manheim, an hour 25 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, 40 minutes. The Ryan, 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound heavy in pockets, 21 to 137. And from the Adams Tollway to the Irving Park Toll, northbound slow, 115th to 31st, Roosevelt to North Avenue, and the O'Hare Oasis to the Adams Tollway. Adams Tollway is the lead of the Tri-State Reagan Tollway, really heavy, 25 to 355, and York to the Eisenhower. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Partial sunshine throughout the day with a high 78. Partly cloudy night, low 56. Some sun followed by clouds tomorrow with a high 80. Then a thunderstorm or two at night with a low 64. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm Saturday, high 83. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, We have 59. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Bolingbrook Golf Club. For tee times and more, visit BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, after that horrific bombing in Kabul yesterday, 90 dead, 400 injured.
And it was right near the German embassy there.
Is it time to take stock of our strategic approach to Afghanistan, even as General Mattis described the annihilation strategy that's being pursued against ISIS? Seems as the Taliban is making progress in Afghanistan. We've spent nearly $1 billion on the war in Afghanistan, liable for trillions more in veterans' health care costs for decades to come. 2,000 American soldiers have died there, more than 20,000 wounded in action. Is it going well? It doesn't seem to be. It seems to be that Afghanistan is failing, and Charlie Wilson's war notwithstanding, rebuilding it doesn't seem to be the order of the day either. Eric Prince has an interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal calling for the MacArthur model for Afghanistan. Eric Prince, of course, former Navy SEAL, rose to prominence as the head of Blackwater, which is a private military corp. Some controversy, of course. But regardless of his analysis, he suggests that the U.S. should consolidate authority in Afghanistan under one person, an American viceroy of sort, who would lead all U.S. government and coalition efforts. And it goes on from there once you've identified the MacArthur figure, if you will. For more on this, as well as the subpoenas that were issued yesterday from the House Intelligence Committee and other such matters of strategic significance, we're pleased to be joined by Ralph Peters, Colonel Ralph Peters, former Army officer and a strategic analyst for Fox News Channel. Colonel Peters, thanks for joining us again. What do you think of the suggestion that Mr. Prince made on the pages of the Journal?
I think Eric Prince is a scoundrel, always has been. And he would love us to stay in Afghanistan forever because he can make a lot of money off it. So I disregard anything Eric Prince says. Blackwater did more damage in Iraq than any other organization but Al-Qaeda back in the day. They were absolutely ruthless cowboys who just killed people and made our military's job, our mission, much, much tougher.
Oh, okay.
So, not just right off Eric Prince. Now, Afghanistan itself, we never ask ourselves the fundamental questions, and we're still not asking them today. What is Afghanistan worth to us strategically? The answer is not much, if anything. Now, the argument that I still hear, and I heard back in 2002 and 2003, when some of us argued that, hey, you can't turn Afghanistan into Colorado. Nation building isn't going to work here. And the answer was that, well, if we don't do something, if we don't stay, we'll have to go back. Well, think how much cheaper it would have been in blood and treasure if we'd left Afghanistan in 2002 and then had to go back in 8 or 10 years and whack them again. The fundamental problem is that the Afghan people don't want what we want them to want. Now, there are some Afghans who are thrilled that we're there. They're the ones in the government who are stealing billions of dollars, buying mansions in Dubai or in Qatar or elsewhere in the Persian Gulf. Corruption, we've never really called them on it. We've made them half-hearted efforts. Corruption has utterly poisoned our efforts in Afghanistan.
Well, so what should we do? What do you call it? A full withdrawal? What should we do?
Well, there are two alternatives. One is to maintain the limited presence we have now to keep whacking terrorists when we can whack them. You can make an argument for that. The other option is to withdraw. Now, I said there were some things that are painful for us to see that are simply true. And, when I talk to retired generals who are emotionally invested in this, I'll say, look, how has the Taliban not only survived, but resurged? The Taliban now control at least 40% of the countryside. Now, how is that possible? 16 years of American efforts. At one point, we had well over 100,000 troops there fighting the Taliban. The Taliban don't have vast sums of money. They're not getting sophisticated military equipment. They get some support from Pakistan. But how have they survived? And the answer is this. Not for us, certainly, but for members of the Pashtun majority that lives in both sides of the Pakistani-Afghan border. For the Pashtuns, for many Pashtuns, not all, the Taliban are nationalist fighters. They're fighting for a Pashtunistan, for a Pashtun state. And, to these people who support the Taliban, we're the redcoats. We're the bad guys. Mm-hmm. They don't want what we want. Now, what they want, this some of it's just crazy. It's ethnically based. They want a primitive form of religion. But we can't make them want what we want them to want. And so, again, you'll have the retired generals will always say, the Afghans hate the Taliban. Well, then how on earth if the Afghans hate them so much, how does the Taliban survive? Why do young Afghans, Pashtuns, continue to join the Taliban instead of joining the Afghan National Army that we back?
But according to the BBC, the Taliban have denied carrying out this attack, which was not, well, no, it was in the diplomatic zone. It was in the green zone, supposedly a safe place. And they used a water tanker truck to blow up and kill so many people, 11 which are Americans.
Well, Amy, that's a very important point. The Taliban are fighting currently. They've changed their tactics quite a bit. They're currently waging a battle for hearts and minds, just as we are. I'm convinced the Taliban had nothing to do with that attack yesterday, because they do respect Ramadan, which has recently begun, the Muslim holy month, and they don't kill Afghan civilians if they can avoid it, unless they're collaborators, etc. This had all the hallmarks. It could have been Al-Qaeda, but it has the hallmarks of Islamic State, the ISIS subsidiary in Afghanistan's Islamic State in Khorasan, which is an old regional name for that part of the world.
Yeah, but ultimately, look, from our strategic perspective, it doesn't really matter. All that does is further complicate the situation. So to your point, Colonel Peters, you've got the Taliban controlling 40% of the country, and then you've got an ISIS problem as well. And unless we can somehow, pit one against the other and have one knock out the other while we knock out the one, then, as you say, we're playing whack-a-mole, and I guess we could do that every decade or so as needed when our substantial security interests are threatened.
Well, my argument is very simple. When you have a foreign threat, such as we saw from Al-Qaeda, who were being hosted by the Taliban in 2001, when you have a foreign threat of that nature, you go and you kill them and you come home. You're not obliged to rebuild your enemy's country for you. Afghanistan is not Germany in 1945, and by the way, we didn't rebuild it. The Germans had rebuilt it. But again, this is, what do we want? What do we expect? What is the desired end state? What is it about Afghanistan that makes it worth more American lives?
Right.
And again, I go back to this. If the Afghan people will not fight for the Kabul government, why on earth should we fight for it?
Let's go back to our government and the report out of CNN yesterday that Jim Comey may testify before Senate Intel as early as next week and may recast how he recalls conversations he had with President Trump about the investigation into General Flynn specifically. What credibility at this juncture after the last year do you assign to Jim Comey's forthcoming testimony?
I believe Jim Comey. I do not believe President Trump. I take a very different stance than many of my colleagues at Fox News.
Well, you believe. Wait, you believe Jim Comey when he says what? Because he's saying things that are mutually exclusive, and he's on a range of topics.
No, I don't think he is saying things that are mutually exclusive. I think Jim Comey does his best. It's a difficult job. The FBI is above politics. And look, I'm sorry, but the Russian story is real. When you have so many illicit contacts with the Russians, when you have so many members of Trump's campaign and administration incriminated by contacts with the Russians, when you have a president who will not criticize Vladimir Putin ever, even though and then attacks our closest allies, There is a story there. Sorry, folks.
But
there's no evidence of anything. But Donald Trump has to answer for what his people do, and the Russia connection needs to be investigated.
Fine.
And I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an American patriot, and I don't want Russia calling the shots in the White House.
Well, that's fine, and I agree with you, and I'm finally investigated, and this is not like love Trump or anything like that, that he's beyond reproach. Nobody's beyond reproach. But my question is, one, Comey has testified before Congress saying no one has tried to interfere with our investigation. His acting director, former deputy director of the FBI, said no one has tried to interfere with our investigation. Now, if the CNN report is accurate, Comey is going to testify that Trump did try and interfere with our investigation. Those two things would be mutually exclusive.
No, because you look at the dates when he said those things.
May 3rd.
He changed his story then. I mean,
he said May 3rd. He said that May 3rd. Now he's talking about a conversation that happened in December.
Yes, well, but December is after May 3rd.
No. May 3rd of this year. May 3rd of this year before Congress.
Let's just see what Comey says before Congress, because we're not perfect individuals. Human beings make mistakes. We're not all perfect masters of the English language. Our president isn't. And you asked me a question. I gave you my own.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to plumb the depths.
Trump administration.
And what about the nature, though, of at some point, given the leaks in the intelligence community, given everything that continues to come out, and oh, by the way, we also have subpoenas going after the unmaskers, right? The subpoenas issued with respect to Rice, Brennan, and Power, and that's an important part of the investigation as well, at least on the House side. But at some point, doesn't evidence have to be presented? Doesn't a statute have to be pointed to that says you are alleged to have violated this law?
The FBI doesn't shoot from the hip. I've worked with them. Those guys are methodical. Sometimes the investigations take years. This is incredibly complex. Right now, the FBI will be working with Treasury, and Treasury is the real ringer in this fight, to investigate. They follow the money. I mean, that's how you got Al Capone. That's how they'll get Mike Flynn, Paul Manafort, and other guys like that if they get them. But you don't want to rush to judgment. You want let Robert Mueller do his job. Let the investigation go forward. As for leaks, as a former intelligence officer, I deplore leaks. But I'll make 2 points. One, without misdeeds, there is nothing to leak. The second point is that during the Obama years, Republicans loved leaks about Hillary Clinton. Now suddenly the leaks are about Donald Trump, and Republicans don't like leaks anymore. That's hypocrisy. I just say, let the FBI, let the special counsel, Robert Mueller, do the investigation, and let's see where it goes, and don't rush it. Because the FBI, as they build cases, they drain out every last drop of evidence. What the FBI would never want to do, and what the special counsel would not want to do, is, as the Bowery Boys used to say, jump to conclusions. You take your time, you get it right. We want this right. If the president is perfectly innocent, the investigation will show that. If there are real problems with the Russians, the investigations will show that.
All right.
We need to be patient and not be prisoners of the 24/7 news cycle.
All right. He is retired Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, strategic analyst for Fox News. Colonel Peters, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey Doubt Pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today, just a gorgeous day, 78 degrees tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 56. And for Friday, some sunshine, some high clouds, warmer, a high near 80 degrees. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. On Chicago's northwest side, both Milwaukee Avenue and Central Park Avenue are closed. In Diversey and Belmont, there is a multi-alarm fire at a furniture store. It's at Milwaukee and Central Park. Eden's 21 minutes like Cook to Montrose outbound 49. Kennedy, an hour from O'Hare to downtown, 35 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express, outbound 48 to O'Hare. The Eisenhower's an hour and 11 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound an hour 25. Stevenson an hour, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ride 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound slow, 21 to 137. And from the Adams Tollway to the Irving Park Toll, northbound stop and go 115th to 31st. Roosevelt to North Avenue, from the O'Hare Oasis to the Adams Tollway, Reaganville a very heavy today, 25 to 355, and York to the Eisenhower. Veterans Memorial from Boughton most of the way to Roosevelt. The Army Trail toll to 290, 53 southbound jammed, Rand to Kirchhoff, 8094 westbound, slow I-65 to Kennedy. Traffic answers, AM 560 the answer.
Hey, trust is the single most important factor in hiring a contractor. And Dependable Construction and its founder, Joe Barron, built their business over 3 decades by being trustworthy. Tuck pointing brick roofing is Joe's specialty. He does not miss any details, trust me. And Joe started as a laborer and progressed to an expert tuck pointer and bricklayer. In addition to masonry and roofing, Joe and Dependable Construction have grown to become a full-service, Angie's List and Better Business Bureau award-winning contractor. For brick, masonry, roofing on residential, commercial, or industrial projects to any other type of remodeling or construction, you will deal directly with owner Joe Barron. Trust me, I've called him. He's given me quotes on projects. He really is the best in the business. So call Joe Barron at Dependable Construction. Mention AM 560 and receive a 10% discount on most jobs. Call 773-244-1091. That's 773-244-1091 or visit tuckpointchicago.net. That's tuckpointchicago.net.
If your roof is needy, if your roof is leaky,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof isn't right after it's stormy and shingles are curly,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof is looking needy, call Crumweedy. This is Mark Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Greg Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business. We've been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You really can't do that unless you do really amazing roofs. We share the same conservative values as you, and we really want to do your roof. Here's what you can expect.
First, no high pressure. You make the choice. Whatever option you choose, count on getting a roof that lasts at a fair price.
You see, application is really the key. We follow the manufacturer's specifications so your warranty is intact. You know, a lot of companies don't do that, and that could really void your warranty.
No horror stories here. The roof you need that will fix your problems.
When your roof is needy,
call Grumweedy.
For your needy roof, go to myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Are you facing foreclosure, been foreclosed upon, in a bad modification, or just stuck in a bad mortgage? Well, we may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. We defend foreclosure actions. We bring claims against the banks and the servicers for wrongful foreclosure and other violations of mortgage servicing regulations. And we help people negotiate modifications of their existing mortgages, often including principal reductions. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, and advice regarding your options.
Hi, this is Rayanne from Lou Bridges & Associates. I am one of the loan modification processors here, and if you are in need of any additional information in regard to a loan modification, please contact the office.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
Hey, your kids won't be thinking about school very much this summer, but it's a perfect time for you to think about where you'll be sending your child back to school this fall. Many parents have been frustrated with public schools, and they've thought about private schools but thought they couldn't afford it. Well, that stops right here. Thanks to halfpriceschools.com, you can find tuition vouchers for private schools all across the Chicagoland area, including Romeoville, Mount Prospect, South Holland, Chicago. And you get the tuition vouchers for half the price. There's no catch. So go to halfpriceschools.com, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your son or daughter off to private schools this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com. But don't delay. Summer won't last forever, and school will be starting before you know it. HalfPriceSchools.com. That's HalfPriceSchools.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, it's the gift that keeps on giving, Kofifing. We'll get that in the latest with Andrew Clavin, who joins us at 8:38. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's the one and only Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 59 and sunshine in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the lifetime Vantage warranty. President Donald Trump may abandon U.S. pledges to reduce carbon emissions, but global economic realities ensure he's unlikely to reverse the accelerating push to adopt cleaner forms of energy, according to Britain, France, and Germany. They say around the world, coal-fired power plants are being shuttered as European governments and some private companies in other areas around the world invest in wind turbines and solar farms. President Vladimir Putin says the Russian state has never been involved in hacking. Speaking at a meeting with senior editors of leading international news agencies, Putin said today some individual patriotic hackers could mount some attacks amid the current cold spell in Russia's relations with the West. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says the president's press team will no longer answer questions about the Trump campaign's possible ties to Russia. Spicer said yesterday all questions on that subject will be referred to outside counsel Mark Kasowitz. The city's acting mayor says the massive truck bombing in Kabul caused property damage as far as 2.5 miles away from the blast site. City workers have removed about 200 large trucks of garbage and destroyed material after Wednesday's blast that killed 80. Total damage from the bombing, based on initial estimates, is over $2 million, but that number could rise. One person is dead after a huge explosion at an ethanol plant in Wisconsin. Multiple burn injuries are also reported. Columbia County Sheriff Dennis Richards says 16 were inside the building when it blew up.
2 of them were able to leave uninjured and refused any medical treatment. 14 others were not that lucky.
In other news we're following, the director of the Illinois DCFS is stepping down, George Sheldon, announcing his resignation later this month, returning to Florida to lead a nonprofit there. The regular Illinois legislative session has ended with no deal on a budget, so the battle between House Speaker Mike Madigan and Republican Governor Bruce Rauner will continue into the summer. Bond denied a 16-year-old girl accused of stabbing an Uber driver to death in Lincolnwood. Eliza Wozni appeared in court yesterday after being charged with murder as an adult. Illinois-based Deere & Company growing in its role as a worldwide road builder. Deere announcing today has a deal to buy Germany's Wirtgen Group for about $5.2 billion. Padres over the Cubs 2-1. Boston over the White Sox 4-1. And the news, a service of Napa Auto Parts this month at participating Napa stores. Valvoline Full Synthetic Motor Oil is on sale for just $5.59 a quart. Take advantage now and protect your engine from the heat all summer long. General states pricing. Sale prices do not include applicable state or local taxes or recycling fees. 8:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
What memories will your family make in Florida? Discover your next vacation at visitflorida.com.
Convenience, confidence, value. Experience all three when you bring your European vehicle to Midwest Performance Cars for maintenance and repair. BMW, Porsche, Audi, Mercedes. We make it convenient for you. Our drop-off procedure has most customers on their way in under 5 minutes, and we feature complimentary Uber or Lyft service to get you where you need to be. With our tablet-based digital inspections, you'll be confident that we only recommend service your car needs. We email or text your vehicle's condition report with pictures and video so you can make an informed decision. And our 3-year, 100,000-mile parts and labor warranty provides unmatched value. We perform outstanding service and we stand behind it. Read our Google reviews and see for yourself. In Chicago at 1385 West Lake Street, book your appointment online at MidwestPerformanceCars.com or call us at 312-432-9492. And coming this summer, we will be opening our second MPC location in Northbrook, Illinois.
if you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
8:35 and a check of your roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Metra says BNSF trains are stopped right now near the Riverside Station. There's been a collision involving a pedestrian. Northwest side of Chicago, we have closures of Milwaukee Avenue and Central Park Avenue. University and Belmont, there's a multi-alarm fire in a furniture store. Edens is 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 49. Kennedy, 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 53. The Eisenhower, an hour and 11 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 57 minutes from Manheim, outbound. An hour to Manheim, an hour 25 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 43 minutes. The ride is 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Delays on the Tri-State, southbound 21 to 137, and approaching the Irving Park toll, northbound 115th to 31st, Roosevelt to North Avenue, from the O'Hare Oasis to the Adams Tollway. Very slow on the Reagan Tollway, Farnsworth to 53, and York to the Eisenhower. Northbound Veterans Memorial slow, starting at Boughton, and southbound 53 is jammed Dundee to Palatine Road where there's a crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny and 78 today, partly cloudy and 56 overnight. Currently 59. Next news coming up at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Health Quest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight starting at 7 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah. Dan and Amy, I like the sage of South Central. I don't like when we use Russian royalty to describe Americans. It's confusing to me. Also confusing to me, Kofifi.
Kofifi!
And thought it was going to be a one-day story, particularly after
no.
Trump tweeted in response, kind of playfully, I thought, just trying to make light of what appeared to be a typo.
Right,
Right.
Which I thought that it was too. I thought he meant to say conversation and then he dozed
coverage.
off. Coverage.
Right. News coverage.
But it's Kofifi now might have a different meaning. USA Today saying that maybe President Trump suffers from sleep deprivation. It's not good for America.
Yeah. That's USA Today. That was in a pie chart format, they said that. Sean Spicer, though, gave it air yesterday when he said this in response to a question on the tweet.
Do you think people should be concerned that the president posted somewhat of an incoherent tweet last night and that it then stayed up for hours?
No.
Why did it stay up so long? Is no one watching this?
No, I think the president and a small group of people know exactly what he meant. Blake. Blake.
What does he mean?
Blake.
What is Kofifi?
Blake.
No, but see,
Blake.
I mean,
Kofifi, it's Kofifi.
So we need Alan Turing to code break this for us, Sean? Why would you suggest that the president is speaking in code to a small group of people through a public social media forum?
I think this is the nail in the coffin for Sean Spicer.
Well, I don't know about that. If this was sui generis from Spicer, maybe. It's just bizarre. I don't really understand why they give air to the story. If they wanted to give air to a stupid story, he could have been talking about Kathy Griffin instead.
Well, Hillary Clinton picked up on it right after he said that, Sean Spicer.
I don't think we can get into Confifi right now because it's a longer thing. But
I thought it was a hidden message to the Russians.
Oh, you did?
Hidden message to the Russians. Was she being funny or was she being serious?
If you have to ask, I guess it wasn't very funny. So it's nice that she's kept precisely her sense of humor from the campaign. For more on the topic of media coverage and these ancillary and sort of unnerving stories, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Andrew Klavan, noted author, Hollywood screenwriter. His latest book, which I highly recommend, is excellent. The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ. Andrew, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
It's nice to be here. Thanks.
So what of Kathy Griffin and Kofifi?
Well, the Kofifi thing, I think, really has brought the political conversation in Washington to its absolutely natural level. We're just talking nonsense words at one another, and the press is hammering Sean Spicer, and the White House is just trolling the press, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I thought that was, I really did think that was hilarious. I thought it was funny that Trump was actually joking about it. And it is a word that I think has now entered the lexicon of American political language. We're going to be using it forever, I think.
So, Andrew, what is your definition of Kofifi, or do you say confefe?
I use it now as an all-purpose word to mean hello, good,
yes,
anything, whatever people
like
say.
Mahalo.
Have a cup of Kofifi in the morning, and I'm ready to go.
So you're clearly one of the small group of people who's in the know on Kofifi.
Me and Trump are just like this close. I think we're now communicating above the heads of the rest of the American people.
And also the hand-wringing and perfunctory moral indignation, particularly from the left, sans Al Franken, about Kathy Griffin and her foray into the art world.
You know, I have to say, this story is actually an important story and is going to have ramifications down the line, and it is not about Kathy Griffin. It is about the way the press just exposed itself as being morally empty. Obviously, I think everybody agrees, including Kathy Griffin herself, that what she did was disgusting. It was not part of the political discourse. It's not something, this is the President of the United States, like him or not, and you don't make jokes about killing him. It's just not funny. And putting herself in the position of an ISIS terrorist, all that stuff, I get. But comedian, she's looking for attention, whatever, she's not famous enough, so she got herself a date with attention, congratulations. But the fact that CNN had to scratch its chin before firing her and reacting, the fact that CNN commentators shrugged it off on TV, after, remember, CNN spent a week getting a rodeo clown fired for wearing an Obama mask.
Yeah, that's right.
And campaigned against him. They blamed the Gabby Gifford shooting on right-wing rhetoric, such as Sarah Palin using a target on her campaign material, saying, I'm targeting these congressional districts. And they blamed that for a shooting by a psychopath who was actually a leftist psychopath, as it turned out. When you consider that they've been doing this stuff, and suddenly they're shrugging off Kathy Griffin. Now, they did the right thing and fired her eventually, but still, the fact that nobody in the left reported it, that they shrugged it off, that they were so quick to forgive it just shows that this is a completely morally empty press corps. And I think the fact that the way they're reporting the Russian story is the same thing. They're reporting stories on the flimsiest of anonymous sources that really don't make sense. The whole collusion narrative now no longer makes sense at all. And yet they manage to gin people up to this hysteria. I think we are seeing a kind of inward collapse. I mean, I think when something is this hollow, as the news media now is, it's going to ultimately collapse in on itself. And that means that there is this opening for people who can actually get information, actually report stories. And if these guys in New York and L.A., if they think that people in the middle of the country give a rat's cahoot about their silly, hysterical stories, they are completely out of touch. I mean, all people care about right now is the economy and their jobs and the frightening way things are changing, in automation and things like this. And if, as some people are now predicting, if the new Trump economy becomes a growth economy of over 3%, which I think is entirely possible. A lot of experts say it's not possible. I think it's completely possible. If that happens, this guy's going to win every state in the union next time out. And I think that these guys have just so completely discredited themselves. And Kathy Griffin has actually exposed them. She actually did a service exposing how empty, how biased, how one-sided, and how hysterical they are. I think that they've just lost credibility altogether, and all the things they think they're playing gotcha with Donald Trump, I suspect he's really playing gotcha with them. I think we are not. When you read the news now, you are literally reading fake news in that you're reading what is not on the minds of the American people and not really going on. You're just reading what's going on in this kind of hothouse of Washington reporters. And it's funny because it works, because all you have to do is win half the audience to get a big audience. So MSNBC is now like leading in cable news. Because if all the liberals come to your station, the way all the conservatives used to come to Fox, if that happens, then you win the ratings war. And so there's an economic reward for essentially being a party hack.
But if every story is written by a reporter, they have their own ideology and their own political beliefs that always seem to shine through in a piece or a story or a package that they put on the air. Where do you go to find news that is truthful? Andrew Clayton.
That is such a good question, because as a guy, I have a podcast. I go on 4 days a week and I talk about the news. It now takes me, I would say, about 3 times longer to establish whether something is a fact or not than it did, say, 2 years ago. It used to be 2 years ago, if I looked at the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, I could put those two sources together and come up with the facts. Now I'm looking at people, anonymous sources calling reporters and reading them documents over the phone. That's not a story. That's a conversation. That's the kind of thing that's a lead that you then go out and kind of confirm a story with. So it's very, very difficult. But what I find is if I can get to enough sources, and if I find certain sources I can trust, I can ultimately establish whether something is a real story or not. I mean, yesterday there was this big story of was Trump going to leave the Paris Accord? And it was in every outlet. Trump is getting ready to leave the Paris Accord. And I looked at that and I thought, until I see Donald Trump in front of a camera saying, I have left the Paris Accord, that's not a real story. That's a trial balloon being floated, but probably by people in the administration. And so you constantly have to outthink the press, because the press is basically just spilling stuff, their own kind of vitriol, onto the pages, and you really have to vet it yourself now.
Well, the interesting thing, this was kind of captured in Dan Henninger's piece in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, is that as we're upon the summer of resistance that the Democrats are launching, the Fourth Estate in D.C. has just become an extension of the Democratic Party, as it always has been. But both have become an extension of what's going on college campuses. That's the culture. The era of making arguments is over. It's just opposition. I don't have to explain myself. I'm just opposed. And if you don't hew to my orthodoxy, then we will silence you. That's the new political culture that's extending from the campuses to the Democrat Party writ large and to, frankly, the D.C. press corps writ large.
That's right, because they're only talking to themselves, so they don't understand that people do have actual lives in which actual things happen. This is why they misreported the last election, because they didn't understand that it wasn't really about Hillary's emails, and it wasn't really about the Russians, and it wasn't about any of these things. It was about the fact that people didn't have jobs. And not only did they not have jobs, they had gone for 8 years with a president who cared more about whether, a transgender kid could use the right bathroom in their town, which was none of his business to begin with, than whether they were working. He cared more about, supporting his friends who made solar panels than making sure that new factories had incentives to stay in the Midwest because they weren't being regulated and taxed to death. So, there is a reality, and whether the press decides to report it or not, people are living that reality, and it will have an effect on people. It just baffles me. It baffles me that nobody has stepped up, especially on the right, or at least the middle right, has stepped up and started to supply the lack, has started to say, here is a show where we are going to give you the news. The closest thing we have is Bret Baier's special report on Fox, which is a sensational news program that does kind of hew to the facts. But, I think we need more. Journalism is dead. We need to long live journalism. We need to bring it back.
He is Andrew Klavan, screenwriter, essayist, author of the book, The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ. Andrew, thanks as always for being with us. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, plenty of sunshine, a high of 78. And tomorrow, Friday already. Well, that's what happens when you don't work Mondays. It's a quick work week. Tomorrow, some sunshine giving way to clouds, a high near 80 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Delamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Metra has stoppages right now at the BNSF line near the Riverside Station. There's been a collision involving a pedestrian. So trains have been canceled and trains aren't moving. Also on the Union Pacific West line, trains are stopped in Wheaton due to a gas leak. Eden's outbound 41 minutes to get to Lake Cook. Inbound fine at 19. Kennedy, delays started Foster 53 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 43. The Eisenhower's an hour and 11 minutes. Thorndale to the post office outbound an hour 25. Stevenson an hour 3:55 to the drive outbound 43 minutes. The Rhine 40 minutes from 95th to downtown. Tri-State very slow northbound 95th to 31st and Roosevelt up to the Adams Tollway. Southbound slow approaching the Irving Park Toll. Adams Tollway stop and go lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway heavy 59 Winfield and York to the Eisenhower. Veterans Memorial 75th to Roosevelt. After the Army Trail Toll to 290. Southbound 53 stop and go Dundee to Palatine Road. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Who doesn't love a MyPillow? My friend Jennifer, she loves her MyPillow, sleeps on it every night, and told me again how much she appreciates the fact that I tell people to get one. Why not? Maybe you've seen them in a store, but the radio deal using my name Amy has the promo code is a much better deal. It's the best deal available, don't you know? And in June, you'll receive the 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack. That's 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. You can move the fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless of sleep position. And they're made right here in the USA using American labor. You can wash and dry them. They're hypoallergenic. And you'll get the 10-year warranty and 60-day money-back guarantee. And in June, don't forget, get the 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201. Promo code Amy. Just do it.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-5602. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-5602. That's 1-800-400-5602. 1-800-400-5602.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
Bolingbrook Golf Club, that's where we're hitting the little white ball for our annual golf outing this year, sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford, but it's also a place where there's more than just golf. Celebrate Independence Day at the Bolingbrook Golf Club this year, complete with food, fun, and fireworks. Find out all the information at BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
Growing up, your parents took care of your every need. Now you may be providing care for them. Are you worried about mom and dad living alone? Are they getting more forgetful or need help with daily activities? Why not consider a lifestyle that provides support services so they can enjoy as much independence as possible and maintain quality of life? Arboria of Long Grove is an all-new assisted living and memory care community, offering respectful assistance with activities of daily living and specialized memory care. The community features classically designed residential spaces, gracious hospitality services, amenities, and courteous, highly skilled staff to meet every need. Arboria of Long Grove is situated on 10 wooded and lushly landscaped acres off Route 53 in Long Grove. It's a vibrant yet peaceful environment filled with good neighbors, great social activities, and the finest in care. Schedule a tour today. Call 847-383-6737 or visit arboriaoflonggrove.com. That's arboriaoflonggrove.com.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. Since collusion is the D.C. watchword of the day, let's discuss the collusion between big government and its press agents. A recent Harvard study found that reporting on Trump's first 100 days by major news outlets was 80% negative. That's compared to 60% positive on Obama in his first 100 days. The frontal assault on Trump may be more intense, but it's nothing new. Academic research finds that since 1964, 80 to 95% of the D.C. press corps voted for the Democrat nominee for president. They are as government-centric as the Pauls and influence peddlers they cover. They find crisis only when a government program is in jeopardy. They report with a perspective, consciously or not, in advance of big government. Consider, if during the past 50 years, 80 to 95% of the D.C. press corps had instead voted for the Republican presidential candidate, do you think their coverage would have been different? Do you think our government would be different? Yet complaining about conservatives getting a fair shake is as quixotic as expecting one. Conservatives need to spend less energy attacking the big government D.C. press corps' fortified castle and more on continuing to build our own in the form of data-driven news outlets in advance of our perspective.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio.
I spoke to one person and, I asked him a simple question is, what do you want to do with your retirement? And he said, I want to protect it. Because if it does go down and not come back, do you have enough time in the market to recover those losses?
Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Chicago's safe money strategist. Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Imagine purchasing America's best-selling pistol, the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 9mm, for only $350 plus a $75 manufacturer rebate. Plus, mention you heard it from me, Amy Jacobson, when you buy your Shield and get a box of Federal Range ammo for only $5.60. At Schrank's, of course. Schrank's has Lake County's largest selection of new, used, and consignment pistols, rifles, shotguns, and ammo, plus full gunsmith services. In June, it's also a buy three, get one free on select ammo. And don't forget to purchase your favorite cigars at Schrank's. Avoid the Cook County taxes and take advantage of the June deal on a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 9mm for only $350 plus a $75 manufacturer rebate. Schrank's, the firearms store generations of customers trust. Visit SmokeTheletterN.gun.org or call 847-662-4034. Schrank's Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964.
AM 560, The Answer.
So somebody's out of a job this morning.
Yeah, should Mr. Met have been fired?
Well, yeah, this is what happened. Mr. Met on Wednesday night was walking through the tunnel and something happened. The Mets lost 7-1 to the Milwaukee Brewers. And it caught on social media. He's walking down that tunnel at the ballpark, turned around and gave the middle finger to a fan. But here's the thing. He technically has 4 digits. He has 3 fingers and a thumb.
He only needed the one finger.
And that's what happened. We don't know what upset him, but according to the Mets organization, there's 2 people who wear the Mets mascot costume, and one is never going to have a job because I know who did it, and they're trying to figure out why. But something was said. Maybe something was thrown at the Mets mascot.
It's hilarious. The picture is hilarious because he's got this big smile on his face with this big baseball head, and he's giving somebody the bird. So that's great now. So he's gone. What about Margaret Court Arena? Should that be gone? Margaret Court, the women's tennis champion, most Grand Slam titles in women's tennis history. There is a stadium named after her in Australia, but now some, including one lesbian tennis player, want it renamed because Margaret Court believes that marriage is a union between one man and one woman as stated in the Bible. And actually, the Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Turnbull, has weighed in on this on behalf of Margaret Court, saying the arena should stay named after her because it honors Margaret Court, the tennis player. But more of the intolerance of tolerance from the left on Margaret Court.
Thanks so much for making us part of your day. Now here is Mike Scott.
Investigating an explosion in Wisconsin. Fox with the latest on that developing story.